Did the jackal-headed god Anubis hold the key to humanity's extraterrestrial origins? And could these ancient Egyptian rituals hold the secrets to interdimensional travel and alien contact? Today, we are going to explore an alternative narrative of Anubis and the secrets of the afterlife. Ancient Egypt, a civilization that thrived for over 3 millennia, was deeply preoccupied with death, mummification, and the elaborate journey to the afterlife. Their belief system, woven with intricate symbolism and powerful deities, offers a window into a culture obsessed with transcending mortality. Gods like Osiris, the ruler of the underworld, and Ra, the sun god who journeyed through the night, held prominent places in their spiritual lives. The Great Pyramids of Giza and other monumental structures served not only as tombs, but also as powerful symbols of their unwavering faith in the afterlife. This preoccupation with death was not a morbid fascination, but rather a profound belief in the continuation of existence beyond the physical realm, as evidenced by their meticulous preservation of the body and elaborate burial rituals. The importance they placed on these concepts demonstrates the lengths to which they went to provide a gateway to the world beyond. Central to this intricate system was Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification, cemeteries, and the guardian of the afterlife. Anubis played a crucial role in the mummification process, overseeing the embalming and preparation of the deceased for their journey into the underworld. His jackal head, often associated with scavengers, symbolized his role in protecting the dead and guiding them through the afterlife. Most notably, he presided over the weighing of the heart ceremony, a pivotal event in the soul's journey where the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of man, representing truth and cosmic balance. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul was deemed worthy to enter the afterlife. If heavier, it was devoured by the monstrous Ammit. This ceremony was a symbolic test of moral purity and spiritual worth, dictating the soul's ultimate fate. However, mysteries shroud the precise methods and purpose of these elaborate mummification practices, and the symbolism found within the Book of the Dead. The complex chemical processes, the intricate wrapping techniques, and the meticulous placement of amulets and other objects within the tombs raise numerous unanswered questions. Why did the ancient Egyptians go to such extraordinary lengths to preserve the physical body? What was the true meaning behind the spells and incantations inscribed in the Book of the Dead? The enigma deepens when we consider the possibility of extraterrestrial influence, challenging the conventional understanding of these ancient practices. Could there have been a more advanced purpose to these rituals than simply preparing the soul for the afterlife as we currently understand it? Let us now consider the concept of ancient astronauts, the theory that extraterrestrial beings may have influenced ancient civilizations and their beliefs. According to this theory, beings from other planets visited Earth in the distant past, sharing their advanced knowledge and technology with early humans. Could these extraterrestrial visitors have been mistaken for gods, their technology misinterpreted as divine magic? If so, the ancient Egyptian pantheon, including Anubis, might represent a distorted memory of these encounters. Perhaps Anubis was not a deity in the traditional sense, but rather an emissary of an advanced alien civilization, guiding humanity's understanding of death and the afterlife through the lens of their own superior technology. The question remains, what was the extraterrestrials' purpose behind this exchange of knowledge? Consider, for example, the sophisticated chemical processes used in mummification. Could these processes have been far more advanced than we currently realize, possibly involving techniques for preserving genetic material or even manipulating consciousness? Could these gods have been using Earth and its people for their own devices? Mainstream scholars attribute the use of natron and other substances solely to desiccation and preservation. But what if these compounds possessed other properties, unknown to us, that facilitated a deeper connection to the fabric of life itself. The application of these sophisticated processes might indicate a pattern of advanced technology being mistaken for supernatural powers, suggesting that ancient Egyptians witnessed technology far beyond their comprehension and attributed it to divine beings. What if Anubis was not a god, but an extraterrestrial being or a representative of an advanced alien civilization, influencing ancient Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife? To answer this question, we will examine ancient Egyptian texts, analyze mummification practices, and explore the possibility of alien involvement in shaping ancient Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. Join us as we delve into the heart of ancient Egypt, seeking to unravel the secrets that lie buried beneath the sands of time. But what if Anubis wasn't merely a deity, but an alien being utilizing advanced technology far beyond our current comprehension? Could advanced extraterrestrial knowledge have directly influenced his role, and perhaps even more intriguingly, the very mummification practices themselves? The key aspect we'll focus on is the reinterpretation of Anubis's traditional role as a technician or scientist from another world, meticulously responsible for overseeing and managing the delicate transition of souls. This understanding presents a stark challenge to the traditional religious interpretation of Egyptian cosmology and provides a provocative new perspective on their complex interactions with otherworldly beings, fundamentally altering our understanding of their beliefs. According to ancient Egyptian texts, Anubis was not just a god, but a precise administrator of the secrets, suggesting a level of technical expertise that far exceeds the conventional understanding of a religious figure. Ancient texts describe him meticulously guiding souls through the perilous journey of the afterlife, not as a divine shepherd, but rather as a skilled facilitator, assisting them through a complex technological process that remains shrouded in mystery. Consider his close association with specific stars or constellations. Might these celestial bodies represent his true origin points, distant worlds from which he descended to impart his otherworldly knowledge? This notion challenges our conventional understanding of ancient Egyptian cosmology. The significance of Anubis managing the transition of souls from a technological viewpoint raises several profound questions. What if the jackal head wasn't just a symbolic representation, but a sophisticated communication device or sensory augmentation tool, enabling him to perceive dimensions beyond human comprehension? What if the guiding of souls involved complex methods of transportation or the transfer of consciousness, utilizing technologies that we can only begin to imagine? Now, some might argue that Anubis's role is purely symbolic, representing the Egyptians' understanding of death and the afterlife. However, if we view his role through the lens of alien intervention, these symbolic interpretations could serve as a clever disguise, masking the true technological nature of his duties and concealing the advanced science behind the veil of religious practice. If Anubis was indeed an alien technician, equipped with advanced technology, what secrets do the ancient rituals and practices of mummification hide? We've explored Anubis's potential role as an alien technician. Now, let's consider another controversial theory, that mummification was about more than just preserving a body. What if mummification wasn't just about preserving the body for the afterlife, but about meticulously preserving DNA? The advanced knowledge of chemicals and processes used in mummification, such as natron, resins, and precise wrapping techniques, suggests a far deeper understanding of biology than we typically attribute to the ancient Egyptians. Specific organs were carefully preserved, each with its own unique treatment, raising the question, could this have been related to preserving specific genetic material within those organs? Consider the lungs, heart, and liver, all believed to house the soul, but also rich in DNA. Mainstream Egyptology suggests that ancient Egyptians were merely preparing the body and soul for the afterlife. But what if preparing the body and soul meant preserving genetic material? But what would be the potential alien motivations for meticulously preserving this genetic material? Could they have been engaged in a long-term project of creating hybrid beings, splicing human DNA with their own to produce a new, more advanced species? Or perhaps they sought to transfer consciousness, using the preserved DNA as a template for recreating a person's mind in a new body. It's important to note the significance of the chemicals used in mummification. Natron, for example, is a naturally occurring salt with remarkable desiccation properties, and resins were used to seal the body, preventing decay. Did these substances possess other, unknown properties that aided in DNA preservation, acting as a kind of stasis field? While some may argue that these chemicals were used for religious purposes, what if that was merely a cover-up, a way to disguise the true purpose of these rituals from the masses? Could mummification be connected to the possibility of rebirth and immortality, not in a spiritual sense, but in an alien context, where death is merely a transition to a new form of existence? If mummification was about preserving genetic material, what was the true purpose of the elaborate afterlife judgment rituals? Did only certain souls possess genetic material deemed worthy of preservation, making the weighing of the heart ceremony a crucial selection process? We've explored how aliens could have been involved in mummification. What's their connection to the afterlife? The weighing of the heart ceremony, presided over by Anubis, may have been far more than a symbolic judgment. It could have been an alien soul selection process, determining which individuals possessed the genetic purity or compatibility required for their purposes. What if the heart, in this context, represents not just the seat of emotions and morality, but a representation of one's genetic code, a blueprint of their physical and spiritual makeup? Reinterpreting the Book of the Dead, we find descriptions of the afterlife journey filled with trials and tribulations, tests that could have been designed to assess a soul's worthiness. Perhaps the spells and incantations were not just for protection, but for ensuring the integrity of the genetic information being assessed. Did the weighing of the heart represent the ultimate quality check for a vast alien experiment? But what were the aliens' motivations for so carefully assessing these souls? Were they harvesting energy from those deemed worthy, extracting their life force to power their advanced technology? Perhaps they sought specific genetic traits, using the selected souls as a source for creating new beings or enhancing their own lineage. Or could it be that they were interested in consciousness itself, seeking to understand and replicate the human mind for purposes we can only begin to imagine? While some view the weighing of the heart through a religious and moral lens, what if it was simply a cold, calculated selection process, driven by alien objectives that are beyond our current comprehension? What does this say about the souls who failed the weighing of the heart ceremony, those whose hearts were devoured by Ammit? Were they simply destroyed, their essence extinguished forever? Or was their fate something far worse, a form of recycling, where their genetic material was repurposed for some unknown alien agenda? If the worthy souls were those who possessed the best genetic material, what kind of criteria were these extraterrestrial beings using? We've journeyed through the world of Anubis, mummification, and the afterlife judgment, exploring the possibility of alien involvement at every turn. From Anubis being an alien technician to mummification as genetic preservation to the weighing of the heart as a soul selection process, the evidence presents a radical challenge to our understanding of ancient Egyptian beliefs. If aliens were indeed involved in these practices, what does that mean for our present understanding of life, death, and the soul? The implications are staggering. But the question remains, are these extraterrestrial forces still monitoring us, perhaps waiting for a future harvest, a new opportunity to exploit humanity for their own enigmatic purposes. What we'll uncover next is even more shocking. What if the meticulous preservation of organs and the elaborate rituals surrounding death weren't solely about preparing a body for the afterlife, but instead served a far more calculated, alien purpose? What if the ultimate goal of the alien Anubis wasn't merely preservation, but the controlled harvest of souls, a concept that extends far beyond the traditional understanding of Egyptian beliefs? The notion of a soul harvest might sound like science fiction, but reinterpreting the ancient rituals as a precise system of soul collection, preparation, and potential future use offers a provocative new perspective on the Egyptian afterlife. It wasn't just about spiritual practices. The aliens had long-term plans for the harvested souls, a plan far more intricate and unsettling than we've ever imagined. Could the canopic jars, those iconic vessels meticulously holding the organs of the deceased, be more than just symbolic containers? Could they have served as actual soul storage units, designed for a purpose beyond the traditional religious interpretations? To understand this radical proposition, we must first consider the significance of each organ stored within these jars. The liver, believed to be the seat of emotions and vitality. The lungs, representing breath and life force. The intestines, associated with digestion and the assimilation of experiences. And the stomach, holding the essence of nourishment and sustenance. Ancient texts describe canopic jars as having protective deities and link them to the journey of the soul. But might these deities be masking a more technical role? If these organs were specifically chosen for their connection to consciousness, energy, or genetic information, then the canopic jars weren't simply for traditional afterlife purposes. They were designed for something far more specific and unsettling. From an alien perspective, the preservation of these organs takes on a whole new meaning. Was it the organ's specific connection to consciousness, energy, or genetic information that made them so crucial? The liver, with its complex biochemical processes, might have held unique energetic signatures. The lungs, responsible for the intake of life-sustaining oxygen, might have been seen as conduits for vital energy. The intestines, processing nourishment, might have contained unique microbial DNA. The stomach, breaking down food, might have been analyzed for its distinct enzymatic properties. And how does organ preservation connect to the worthiness assessment during the weighing of the heart ceremony? Were worthy souls meticulously stored, their organs carefully placed in canopic jars, while others were simply discarded, their essence lost forever? While mainstream Egyptology focuses on the religious symbolism of the jars, we must question whether they served a dual purpose, both spiritual and technological. Moreover, we must ask, were the jars designed for long-term storage, or were they merely for transport to another location, a place where the harvested souls would undergo further processing? If extraterrestrial beings influenced ancient Egypt, did their influence extend to other cultures across the globe? Anubis, with his jackal head and his role as a guide through the underworld, is a striking figure in Egyptian mythology. But what if similar figures exist in other ancient cultures, hinting at a broader pattern of extraterrestrial influence? We've explored Anubis's role in the soul's journey, but what if he's not alone? Consider Hermes of Greek mythology, the psychopomp who guided souls to the afterlife. Like Anubis, Hermes was a messenger of the gods, associated with death and the transition to the underworld. And what of the shamanistic traditions found in various cultures around the world? Shamans often act as guides for souls, traveling to other realms and communicating with the spirit world. What common threads connect these figures? The jackal-headed appearance of Anubis, while unique to Egyptian culture, shares thematic similarities with other animal-headed deities found in different mythologies. His role as a guide is echoed in Hermes' duty to lead souls, and in the shaman's ability to navigate the spirit world. These shared characteristics, the role as a guide, the association with death, and the connection to otherworldly realms, suggest a deeper, underlying pattern. Do these shared elements suggest a common origin, a single source of influence affecting different civilizations across the globe? What is the possible significance of these similar figures appearing across multiple cultures? The Anubis archetype, as we might call it, suggests that aliens may have been seeding multiple planets with similar concepts and technologies, adapting their approach to suit the local cultures and beliefs. Perhaps these figures were part of a larger project, a cosmic experiment designed to manipulate human consciousness and harvest souls on a grand scale. If these figures are indeed related, does it suggest a single source of alien influence affecting different civilizations? The shared symbolism implies an underlying connection to a larger cosmic agenda, a plan that spans millennia and encompasses multiple worlds. This prompts a profound question. What does this say about the nature of human consciousness and its potential for alien manipulation? Are we merely pawns in a cosmic game, our souls harvested and repurposed for an alien agenda we can scarcely comprehend? But has there been a deliberate attempt to hide this knowledge from us, to suppress the truth about alien influence in ancient history? We've explored the possibility of alien involvement in ancient Egypt, from Anubis's role in mummification to the soul selection process and the recurring archetype found in other cultures. What if this narrative is not just ignored, but actively suppressed by those who seek to control the flow of information and maintain the status quo? Let's explore the possibility of suppressed evidence and historical cover-ups related to alien contact, a conspiracy that could rewrite our understanding of human history. The theory that some Egyptian artifacts and historical accounts are suppressed or reinterpreted to hide the alien influence is a controversial one, yet it persists among alternative historians and researchers. Are there examples of unusual artifacts or anachronistic technologies found in Egypt that defy conventional explanation? Consider the Baghdad Battery, an ancient artifact discovered in Iraq that some believe could have been used to generate electricity. Could similar devices have existed in ancient Egypt, providing power for advanced technologies that have been deliberately hidden or misinterpreted? The idea of secret societies and hidden chambers within the pyramids, holding evidence of alien contact, has captured the imagination of many. While mainstream archaeologists dismiss these claims as mere speculation, what if there is a kernel of truth hidden beneath the surface? What if these hidden chambers contain artifacts that would shatter our understanding of Egyptian history and reveal the truth about alien involvement? But what could be the motivations behind suppressing the alien narrative? Why would powerful forces go to such lengths to conceal the truth about our extraterrestrial past? The control of information is a powerful tool, and those who possess it can shape the narrative of history to suit their own agendas. By maintaining the status quo, they can protect established power structures and prevent the masses from questioning their authority. The alien narrative also poses a significant threat to established religious beliefs. If humans were created or influenced by extraterrestrial beings, it would challenge the very foundation of many religious doctrines. So, who are these powers that might be hiding this information? Are they governments, secret societies, or even extraterrestrial beings themselves, seeking to control our perception of reality? What are the implications of a historical cover-up on human understanding of our origins and purpose? If our history has been deliberately distorted, then we are living a lie, unaware of our true potential and our connection to the cosmos. Was the Bible inspired by these ET beings as a form of control? So, what have we learned on this journey through the mysteries of Anubis, mummification, and the possibility of alien influence. We've explored the idea of Anubis as an alien technician, mummification as genetic preservation, the weighing of the heart as a soul selection process, and the recurring archetype found in other cultures. We have also considered the unsettling possibility of suppressed evidence and historical cover-ups, designed to conceal the truth about our extraterrestrial past. Putting all of this together, the evidence suggests a radical reinterpretation of ancient Egyptian beliefs, one where aliens played a far more significant role than we ever imagined. Anubis in this context becomes not just a god, but a harvester, meticulously preserving souls for a future purpose, a grand cosmic experiment that spans millennia. What does this mean for humanity? Are we still being monitored, our every thought and action scrutinized by unseen forces, waiting for a future harvest, a new opportunity to exploit us for their own enigmatic purposes? Prepare yourselves, for what we'll uncover next will challenge your very understanding of reality. So, what does this mean for humanity? Are we still being monitored, our every thought and action scrutinized by unseen forces, waiting for a future harvest, a new opportunity to exploit us for their own enigmatic purposes? The answer, unsettling as it may be, points to an ongoing, pervasive alien presence that extends far beyond the tombs of ancient Egypt. The influence of Anubis, or those he represented, did not simply vanish with the decline of the pharaohs. The original theory is not just about past intervention, but rather of an ongoing monitoring system, one that may be even more sophisticated and insidious today than it was millennia ago. This radically changes our view of death, the soul, and our place in the cosmos. If our souls are indeed a resource, a commodity desired by extraterrestrial forces, what steps can we take to protect them from this alien influence? But how could these aliens, these ancient gods, maintain such a persistent presence? How are they still monitoring humanity? One compelling, albeit controversial theory suggests that the pyramids themselves were not merely tombs or monuments, but sophisticated communication devices, beacons designed to transmit signals across vast distances, perhaps even across dimensions, for the alien Anubis. Consider the precise alignments of the pyramids to constellations and celestial events. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, is meticulously aligned with the cardinal directions and the constellation Orion, a configuration that some researchers believe is too precise to be coincidental. Could these alignments have served as a form of celestial signaling, a way for the alien Anubis to communicate with their home world or to track the movement of celestial bodies? Furthermore, the internal structure of the pyramids, with their intricate chambers and shafts, suggests a purpose far beyond simple burial. The shafts, in particular, have been a source of much speculation, with some theories proposing that they were designed to channel energy or to serve as conduits for interdimensional communication. What effects could these pyramids have had on human consciousness, and were they intentionally designed to shape civilization? Could the pyramids have been used to manipulate human thought patterns, subtly influencing the course of history and preparing humanity for a future alien agenda? The power of suggestion, amplified by the precise geometric and energetic properties of the pyramids, could have been a potent tool in the hands of the alien Anubis. But were they merely tombs? The conventional explanation is that the pyramids were elaborate tombs designed to house the pharaohs in the afterlife. However, this explanation fails to account for the many anomalies and unexplained features of the pyramids, such as the lack of mummies found in some of the major pyramids. What makes these structures transmitters? The precise geometry, the specific materials used in their construction, and their alignment with celestial bodies may have created a resonance chamber, amplifying energy and transmitting signals across vast distances. If the pyramids were indeed a form of alien technology, a way for the alien Anubis to monitor and influence humanity. How are these aliens influencing us today? What modern technology mirrors these ancient methods? Anubis's methods in ancient times were subtle. They involved taking the best humans and allowing only the best to live. They could be benevolent. What has changed in the modern era? Are we still dealing with ancient aliens using modern methods? One theory suggests that modern technology, particularly social media and artificial intelligence, AI, is being used to shape our opinions, monitor our behavior, and ultimately prepare us for a future alien harvest. Social media algorithms are designed to keep us engaged, to feed us information that reinforces our existing beliefs, and to subtly nudge us towards certain behaviors. Could these algorithms be a modern form of brainwashing, a way for unseen forces to manipulate our thoughts and actions on a massive scale? And what about AI? As AI technology becomes more sophisticated, it is increasingly being used to monitor and assess human consciousness. AI algorithms can analyze our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors, providing valuable data that could be used for a variety of purposes, including alien monitoring and manipulation. Are social media trends a type of modern brainwashing, a way for unseen forces to manipulate our thoughts and actions on a massive scale? Is TikTok changing the way our children think? How might these technologies be used to prepare humanity for a future harvest? What if the ultimate goal of social media and AI is not just to sell us products or influence our political opinions, but to shape our beliefs and behaviors in ways that benefit the aliens? What if the data collected by these technologies is being used to identify individuals with certain desirable traits, those who are deemed worthy of being harvested? In this unsettling scenario, data collection becomes a form of alien farming, where human consciousness is cultivated and harvested for some unknown purpose. Is consciousness being farmed, and are our thoughts being manipulated? The counterargument is that these technologies are just supposed to better our lives. However, we should question the effects these technologies have on us. If aliens are influencing humans, what does the future hold? Throughout history, alien influence has been subtle, often cloaked in mythology and religion. But what if that influence is about to become more overt, more direct? Are we on the verge of a cataclysmic event, a shift in consciousness that will herald the return of the alien gods? Consider the ancient prophecies, the apocalyptic visions that speak of a coming time of tribulation, a time of great upheaval and transformation. What if these prophecies are not just religious metaphors, but glimpses into a future where the alien Anubis returns to claim their harvest? What ancient texts or prophecies reference a cataclysmic event or a shift in consciousness? The Book of Revelation, for example, describes a series of events that will lead to the end of the world, including earthquakes, wars, and plagues. The Mayan calendar predicted a major shift in consciousness in 2012, a transition that some believe marked the beginning of a new era for humanity. What is the timeline for such a shift? Some believe it is imminent, while others believe it is still centuries away. Regardless of the timeline, the possibility of a future harvest remains a chilling reminder of our vulnerability to alien influence. Could this be the great filter that every civilization encounters before expanding into the cosmos? What might such a harvest look like, and how might humanity prepare for such an event? What type of souls are the aliens looking for? Are they seeking those who are pure of heart, those who possess unique spiritual gifts, or those who are simply compliant and easily controlled? How might humanity prepare for such an event? Some suggest strengthening our spiritual defenses, cultivating inner peace and resilience, and resisting the temptations of modern technology. Others advocate for a more proactive approach, seeking to understand the alien agenda and developing strategies to counter their influence. The emotional implications of such a harvest are profound. raising questions about free will, destiny, and the very nature of human existence. Throughout this journey, we've explored the possibility of alien intervention in ancient Egypt, the role of Anubis as an alien technician, the pyramids as communication devices, and the potential for modern technology to be used for alien monitoring and manipulation. What does this mean for humanity? Is alien intervention not just possible but a reality? How do we deal with this information? Is alien influence extends from ancient times through our reliance on social media and AI? The steps to reclaiming the soul involves freeing the mind from these subtle influences and returning to our true selves. What does that look like? What specific practices can we use to cleanse our minds? The core theory that alien influence and harvest of souls are not just ancient history is still happening today. This reveals a modern battle, a fight to reclaim individual sovereignty and protect consciousness from subtle manipulation. But what steps can we take to reclaim our soul, our very essence, from these unseen forces? To resist alien influence, ancient Egyptians practiced ways of protecting and strengthening the soul. Practices like meditation, ritual, and connection to nature were employed to shield individuals from negative influences or entities. They believed amulets could deflect harmful energies, objects imbued with sacred symbols and intentions, acting as personal force fields. For example, the Eye of Horus was worn for protection and healing, believed to ward off evil and restore balance to the wearer. The Ankh, the symbol of life, was carried to ensure vitality and immortality. However, are these ancient techniques still effective today? Can they be reinterpreted and adapted for the modern world? The alien perspective, if the theories are to be believed, would be to make it harder than ever before to disconnect from technology. However, if these ancient techniques work, how can spiritual resistance fight against modern alien tech? Critics argue that amulets and rituals are relics of a bygone era, powerless against the onslaught of modern technology and sophisticated manipulation tactics. How can amulets protect you from modern alien tech? One perspective is that an amulet is just a mental tool and cannot physically protect you. Breaking free from social media has benefits. One modern movement is embracing individual sovereignty, self-reliance, and critical thinking. These movements emphasize the importance of questioning authority and resisting groupthink, encouraging practices like minimalism, digital detox, and self-sufficiency. For instance, digital detox retreats encourage individuals to disconnect from technology and reconnect with nature, promoting mental clarity and reducing stress. Minimalism encourages individuals to declutter their lives, focusing on experiences and relationships rather than material possessions. Individual sovereignty can disrupt the alien agenda of control and manipulation. How can we promote critical thinking in others? One way is to promote critical thinking by questioning the narratives presented by mainstream media and challenging the status quo. If we reclaim our individual thought, can we break free from AI? However, some argue that technology is essential for modern life, providing convenience, efficiency, and access to information. But if people reclaim their soul, what happens to society? If our minds are our own, how will that affect an alien race? As people reclaim their soul, society is bound to change. Because of this possibility, some people have presented the theory that humanity is on the verge of a collective awakening, leading to a shift in consciousness and a rejection of the alien agenda. The rise of alternative media, the questioning of mainstream narratives, and the growing awareness of suppressed knowledge all point towards this. Global movements are also promoting peace, sustainability, and spiritual growth. What happens to the alien species when there is a shift in reality? The shift in reality means humanity will change from being a resource to an opponent. But is there a potential for a false awakening or a manipulated shift in consciousness? Some argue that the alien forces could orchestrate a false awakening, manipulating humanity into a state of complacency or even servitude. What does this new shift mean for the future of humanity? So, what have we learned on this journey? The accumulation of evidence, from the ancient practices of soul retrieval to the modern movements of individual sovereignty and collective awakening, points to a single, profound conclusion. From Anubis's soul harvest to our reliance on social media and AI, humanity has always struggled to break free from the strings that bind us. What are the next steps for humanity? If aliens influenced humanity, how do we evolve? Did you know that the ancient concept of Anubis extends far beyond the mummification rituals and the weighing of the heart? The core of this ancient enigma lies in the shocking idea that these beings actively participated in evolving the very DNA of humanity. Imagine ancient manipulation, not just of souls, but of the fundamental building blocks of human existence. This brings forth a profound question. If aliens have always been involved in our evolution, what implications does this hold for the future trajectory of humankind? Now, consider this. Specific genetic markers within human DNA might serve as signatures, remnants of alien intervention. These could be indicators of Anubis's pervasive influence, stamped upon our very genetic code. According to some fringe researchers, a significant portion of our DNA, often dismissed as junk DNA, may actually possess an extraterrestrial origin. But what if that junk DNA isn't junk at all? What if it's a complex library of information deliberately implanted within us, holding the keys to unlocking dormant abilities, or even serving as a beacon for distant cosmic relatives? These researchers point to specific genetic anomalies, unique sequences that defy conventional evolutionary explanation, suggesting they might have been intentionally introduced by beings like Anubis. The question remains, could these genetic manipulations, conducted in the remote past, have been perceived as acts of worship by ancient peoples, unknowingly shaping the very essence of their descendants? Let us delve deeper into the alien perspective on their alleged manipulation of human DNA. If they truly tampered with our genetic code, what could have been their motivations? It's easy to demonize them, but consider their rationale. Were they benevolent gardeners, pruning the tree of life to cultivate specific traits, or were they ruthless genetic engineers, driven by a cold, calculating agenda? The narrative is often framed as one of forced manipulation, but perhaps there was an element of consent, a pact made between humanity and these advanced beings in exchange for knowledge, protection, or a jumpstart on the evolutionary ladder. And what about counterarguments rooted in natural selection? Can the rapid genetic changes observed in human history truly be attributed solely to the slow, grinding process of Darwinian evolution? Or does the existence of junk DNA suggest a more directed, deliberate intervention? Consider the benefits these alien species may have sought to gain from such manipulations. Was it simply a matter of resource extraction, harvesting our planet's raw materials, or did they have a more profound, long-term goal in mind, perhaps using humanity as a vessel for their own consciousness, or as a means of seeding life throughout the galaxy? How does this intricate manipulation of DNA ultimately play into the overarching theme of the harvest, the supposed extraction of souls or energy from humanity? But that's not all. Humanity itself is evolving at an accelerated rate, seemingly defying the constraints of natural selection. Does this acceleration signify the existence of a guiding force from beyond our earthly realm, a cosmic hand nudging us along a predetermined path? If our very DNA bears the mark of Anubis, then are we not, in essence, puppets on a genetic string, dancing to the tune of an ancient, alien agenda? This leads us to another crucial point: the impact of technology on human evolution. Consider this. Advanced technology has initiated a new era of human body modifications. The human body is currently undergoing a rapid evolution phase, driven not by natural selection, but by human creation. Modern marvels like gene editing, CRISPR technology, and nanotechnology are actively reshaping our genetic landscape, blurring the lines between human and machine. But how can we connect this current impact of technology to the ancient technology wielded by figures like Anubis? Is it merely a coincidence that we are now capable of manipulating DNA in ways that echo the alleged actions of these ancient beings? Furthermore, how has this technological revolution transformed society as a whole, altering our relationships, our values, and our very understanding of what it means to be human? Delving even deeper, we encounter the transhumanism movement, a philosophical and cultural phenomenon that champions the use of technology to enhance human capabilities, potentially leading to a new species altogether. But what role might artificial intelligence play in this accelerated evolution, acting as a catalyst for unprecedented genetic and cognitive leaps? Could AI become the ultimate tool for alien influence, subtly guiding our technological development towards a predetermined goal? It's important to note that there are counterarguments surrounding body modifications, particularly concerning the ethical implications of altering the human form and the potential for unforeseen consequences. Is it truly our right to tamper with the very blueprint of life, or are we playing a dangerous game, potentially unleashing unintended horrors upon ourselves and future generations? Ultimately, how does this pursuit of body modification, this quest for transhumanism, tie into the overarching theme of the harvest, the potential for alien forces to exploit our technological advancements for their own nefarious purposes? But that begs the question, is humanity the new host, or are we something else entirely? What are the next steps for humans? How are humans manipulated by the aliens? This leads us to a darker corner of the alien narrative, the role of the Anunnaki. According to ancient Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki were a race of powerful beings who descended from the heavens and seeded life on Earth. But what if these beings, traditionally portrayed as gods, were actually extraterrestrial visitors, wielding advanced technology that was misinterpreted as divine power? How does this revelation change our understanding of human history and the origins of civilization? And what connections exist between the Anunnaki and Anubis, the jackal-headed deity of ancient Egypt? Was Anubis merely a representative of the Anunnaki on Earth, carrying out their agenda of genetic manipulation and soul harvesting? Or could Anubis have been an Anunnaki himself, a high-ranking member of their celestial hierarchy? How does this perspective shift our understanding of the Egyptian afterlife and the role of Anubis within it? Expanding on the Anunnaki influence, we are presented with the harvest, the alleged extraction of human souls or energy by these extraterrestrial beings. What exactly do the Anunnaki need from the human race? Do they see us as a source of labor, a biological resource, or something far more complex, a repository of emotions, consciousness, or even spiritual potential? Where are the Anunnaki located, lurking in the shadows of our solar system or operating from distant galaxies, their influence subtly shaping our world from afar? How does this unseen influence shape our actions today, subtly nudging us towards fulfilling their hidden agenda? Some might argue that other alien species are responsible for this influence, but this fails to explain the striking similarities between the Anunnaki narrative and the Egyptian mythology surrounding Anubis. What can we conclude from these startling revelations? The accumulation of evidence points to a cyclical pattern, an alien race manipulating human DNA, harvesting our souls, and perpetuating a cycle of control that stretches back millennia. The future of the human race hangs precariously in the balance, threatened by forces beyond our comprehension. And the crucial question we must confront is this: How can we save the human race from this insidious cycle, reclaim our sovereignty, and secure a future free from alien manipulation? Synthesize. Anubis is Anunnaki. The DNA has been manipulated by aliens. The aliens see the human race as a commodity to be sold. The future is bleak. But if this is true, how can we reclaim the human race? But what if the Anunnaki's influence extends beyond genetics and physical harvesting to the manipulation of human consciousness itself? If aliens have always been involved in our evolution, what implications does this hold for the future trajectory of humankind? If the Anunnaki are manipulating our reality, what are the tools used to carry out this mass mind control, and how deep does this rabbit hole truly go? The core of this ancient enigma lies in the shocking idea that our very thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions are being actively shaped by an alien agenda, turning the modern world into a constructed simulation. Now, consider the possibility that the Anunnaki are subtly controlling humanity through the manipulation of media, false realities, and cultural narratives. Could the very fabric of our society be woven with threads of disinformation, designed to keep us compliant and unaware? The ancient texts whisper of the Anunnaki as masters of illusion, capable of bending reality to their will. Is it possible that this manipulation continues to this day, albeit through more sophisticated means? Think of the prevalence of modern psychological warfare tactics, the role of propaganda in shaping public opinion, and the constant barrage of disinformation campaigns flooding our digital landscape. How could the Anunnaki benefit from a populace ignorant and divided, constantly distracted by trivialities, and unable to discern truth from falsehood? Ancient Sumerian tablets speak of the Anunnaki controlling the tablets of destiny, giving them the power to control the fate of mankind. The Book of Enoch speaks of beings manipulating the narrative of creation through trickery, to control mankind and steer them toward darkness. Is it possible that we are living in a digital version of this scenario today? Elaborating on this manufactured reality, how might it specifically benefit the Anunnaki harvest? Imagine a world where individuals are so consumed with their daily struggles, so engrossed in artificial dramas, that they have little time or energy to cultivate their own spiritual growth or to question the nature of their existence. Is the Anunnaki harvesting our energy, our very life force, feeding off our ignorance and complacency? From the alien perspective, humans are not just a source of physical resources, but also a rich source of emotional and spiritual energy, a vast and untapped reservoir that can be exploited for their own purposes. But what about counterarguments about personal responsibility? Surely, we are not simply puppets on a string, devoid of free will. Does free will truly exist in this construct, or is it merely an illusion, a carefully crafted narrative designed to keep us from rebelling against our alien overlords? The Book of Revelation speaks of a beast who deceives the whole world through signs and miracles. He deceives those living on the earth. He ordered the inhabitants of the earth to set up an image in honor of the beast. Revelations 13:14. Is this perhaps alluding to the alien deception that has taken place on our planet? So, what modern structures mirror the Anunnaki's tactics for control, and who are the players carrying out this insidious agenda? What happens when the controllers come together and take control of mankind? After all, it's been established that the Anunnaki have enslaved the minds of humanity and are working in conjunction with controllers for their ultimate harvest. Let's delve deeper into the shadows and explore the possibility that the Anunnaki's influence extends to human society through the manipulation of elite families and secret societies. What if the elite families throughout history are influenced and connected to the Anunnaki species, knowingly or unknowingly serving as their earthly agents? Could these bloodlines intentionally be keeping the masses in the dark, perpetuating a cycle of ignorance and control that stretches back millennia? Consider the concentration of power and wealth in the hands of a select few, the dynasties that have shaped the course of history, and the secret societies that operate in the shadows, pulling the strings of global events. What is the role of secret societies in all of this? Are they mere social clubs for the wealthy and powerful, or are they conduits for alien influence, perpetuating an ancient agenda of control and domination? Discussing how the hybrid bloodlines contribute to the Anunnaki agenda, whether consciously or unconsciously, is of the utmost importance. The Book of Daniel speaks of seed that mingles with the seed of men, with some resulting benefits. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Daniel 2:43 is Daniel alluding to the creation of the hybrid bloodlines. But what happens when human bloodlines conspire with aliens, willingly or unwillingly becoming partners in this cosmic scheme? The hybrid bloodlines could see humanity as a commodity, a resource to be exploited for their own gain, regardless of the consequences for the masses. From the Anunnaki influence, humanity is not merely a species to be controlled, but a valuable asset to be utilized in their ongoing power struggles. This alien perspective highlights a cold, calculating approach to human affairs, where emotions and individual well-being are secondary to the pursuit of power and control. What types of technology do they use to keep the population in check? What does this harvest of control look like? What about counterarguments about the existence of such bloodlines? Can we truly believe in a hidden network of powerful families controlling the world from behind the scenes, or is this simply a paranoid fantasy? Consider the historical evidence of dynastic power, the concentration of wealth, and the secrecy surrounding elite organizations. How does the elite stay in power, and what is the Anunnaki's role in all of it? Does this partnership mirror any ancient pacts or alliances between gods and mortals, or is it a uniquely modern phenomenon, driven by greed, ambition, and the insatiable thirst for power? If there is consent in this soul harvest, could humanity be a willing participant? Is there a contract that exists, giving these aliens permission to harvest the human race? Now, consider the possibility that humanity has given consent to this harvest, unknowingly or through deception. Are souls tricked into giving away their energy and power, signing away their freedom in exchange for fleeting pleasures or promises of enlightenment? Could this explain the widespread apathy and complacency, the willingness to accept oppression and injustice, the unconscious surrender of individual sovereignty? The Book of Revelations also speaks of those that are sealed away from the deception that is taking place. Then I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, "Do not harm the earth, the sea, or the trees till we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads." Revelation 7:2-3. Are these sealed souls protected from these contracts? What does that look like? Is this connected to karma, a cosmic accounting system that rewards good deeds and punishes evil ones? Explore the idea of pre-birth agreements or soul contracts that may bind individuals to certain experiences or destinies, potentially influenced by the Anunnaki. How can humans break this contract, reclaim their sovereignty, and escape the cycle of alien control? Can humanity overcome the controllers, the elite families and secret societies that perpetuate the Anunnaki agenda? Elaborate on resetting the soul's path, breaking free from the predetermined patterns of karma and destiny, and reclaiming individual sovereignty. Emphasize the importance of self-awareness, critical thinking, and spiritual growth as tools for resisting manipulation and reclaiming personal power. Can this be influenced by karma? What about counterarguments about what happens to the soul after? Can we truly believe that we have the power to alter our own destinies, or are we forever bound to the whims of the Anunnaki? The Nag Hammadi texts also speak about the freedom of men to take their lives back through spiritual enlightenment. But the perfect man has no truth in what is visible, nor faith in what is invisible, but possesses everything from himself, and the faith is in himself. Track 126. What does this mean for human souls that have given away their sovereignty? So the Anunnaki are enslaving the human race for the ultimate harvest, working in conjunction with hybrid bloodlines and manipulating human consciousness. Is there any way to set the human race free, to break the cycle of alien control, and to reclaim our collective destiny? Synthesize. The Anunnaki have psychologically enslaved humanity and are working in conjunction with hybrid bloodlines for their ultimate harvest. But is this a prison we cannot escape, or does humanity hold the key to its own liberation? Has humanity truly given consent? The accumulated evidence paints a disturbing picture of alien manipulation, raising profound questions about the nature of reality, the existence of free will, and the ultimate destiny of mankind. But if we were to reclaim our souls, what would the future of humanity look like? What is the ultimate destiny of mankind, and how can we ensure a future free from alien control? Did you know that the Anunnaki were not simply interested in gold or physical labor, but were actively trying to prevent humanity from achieving its true potential, godhood? The core of this alternative history lies in the premise that the Anunnaki recognized a spark of divinity within humanity, a latent power they feared and sought to suppress. If the Anunnaki hadn't sought to oppress and control, where would humanity be now? Would we have already unlocked our full potential and transcended the limitations of our physical existence? Now, let's delve into the ancient texts that whisper of humanity's inherent divinity and see how they contrast with the Anunnaki's agenda. Gnostic texts, such as the Gospel of Thomas, describe humans as having the potential to become like gods, possessing wisdom and understanding that surpasses earthly limitations. The Apocryphon of John speaks of the inner light within each person, a spark of the divine that can be awakened through spiritual knowledge. Hermetic writings, attributed to the legendary Hermes Trismegistus, emphasize the connection between humanity and the cosmos, suggesting that humans are microcosms of the universe, capable of mirroring its divine order. As it is stated in the Kybalion text, as above, so below, as within, so without. This idea suggests that humanity is connected to the divine source and has the power to manifest their desires through the law of attraction. These esoteric traditions point to specific qualities associated with this divine potential: heightened consciousness, psychic powers, creative abilities, and a deep connection to the cosmos, all of which the Anunnaki seemingly sought to keep hidden. But why would the Anunnaki seek to suppress human potential? Did they fear that humanity would surpass them in power or knowledge, challenging their dominance over the planet? Or was their oppression tied to the control of resources and energy, using humanity as a tool to maintain their own power? According to Zecharia Sitchin's interpretations of the Sumerian tablets, the Anunnaki came to Earth in search of gold, a vital resource for their own survival. But perhaps the gold was not their only interest. What if the Anunnaki saw humanity's potential as a threat to their own existence, a force that could destabilize their carefully constructed world order? In Genesis 6, the Bible describes the Nephilim as heroes of old, men of renown, beings that were both human and divine, the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Is it possible the Bible is alluding to the potential of mankind? Of course, some might argue that humanity is inherently flawed, prone to violence and self-destruction, and therefore incapable of achieving true godhood. But what if these flaws were deliberately engineered, a way to keep humanity in check and prevent it from realizing its full potential. If humans truly have the potential to become gods, as these ancient texts suggest, then what specific abilities were the Anunnaki trying to steal or diminish? This leads us to another crucial question. What powers did ancient humans possess that the Anunnaki coveted, and how did they go about suppressing them? Before we delve into this, let us summarize the main points. Mankind is destined to be as gods, and has the spark of divinity within them. The key to unlocking this destiny is through realizing the power of the law of attraction. Ancient myths and legends speak of humans possessing abilities that are now considered extraordinary. Telepathy, the ability to communicate mind to mind. Remote viewing, the capacity to perceive distant locations and events. And energy manipulation, the power to heal, create, and transform reality. The Book of Enoch also speaks of abilities mankind possessed that were stolen through the Watchers. And Enoch was blessing the great Lord and King of Peace, and behold he cometh with 10,000s of holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Enoch 1:1-2. So how were ancient humans able to build megalithic structures like the pyramids of Giza, Stonehenge, and the temples of Baalbek, structures that defy modern engineering capabilities? What made humanity so special, so capable of such incredible feats of engineering and artistry? Now, what if the Anunnaki sought to diminish or suppress these abilities through genetic manipulation, altering the very DNA of humanity to limit its potential? As it is written in the Sumerian tablets, the Anunnaki possessed advanced technology that could alter the very essence of life. In the book of Genesis in the Bible, it is written, "And God said, Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." Genesis 1:26. What if this knowledge was given to some and not all, creating a hierarchy of power and control? Some believe that the Anunnaki actions mirror modern-day technology, such as the use of algorithms and artificial intelligence to manipulate human behavior and limit free will. Of course, some might argue that the evolution of human consciousness is a natural process, that our abilities have simply evolved over time. But what if this evolution has been deliberately stunted, guided by an external force seeking to control our destiny? How, then, can humanity regain these lost powers and reclaim its divine potential? What if humanity has the ability to be as gods, but has simply been trapped? This leads us to the possibility of human ascension, a concept that has been whispered about in esoteric traditions for centuries. Ascension is described as a collective shift in consciousness that unlocks dormant abilities and elevates humanity to a higher plane of existence. Is this tied to a specific point in the cosmic timeline, a moment when the veil between dimensions thins and new possibilities emerge? Ancient prophecies and esoteric teachings reference a coming age of enlightenment or transformation, a time when humanity will awaken to its true potential and transcend the limitations of its physical existence. The Mayan calendar, for example, predicted a major shift in consciousness around the year 2012, a time of great upheaval and transformation. Others state that the year 2040 is the year that all changes forever. According to the law of one, ascension is also tied to evolution of human consciousness and is a gradual process. As humanity evolves, they must embrace unity, understanding, and compassion. Is this why humanity is being suppressed? Now, what impact would human ascension have on the Anunnaki agenda? How would it disrupt their control over humanity, resources, and the planet? If humanity were to collectively awaken to its divine potential, would the Anunnaki lose their power, their ability to manipulate and control our reality? If all of this were to occur, how would the elite prepare for this situation? Would they double down on their efforts to suppress human consciousness, or would they seek to adapt and evolve alongside humanity? Some might argue that human ascension is a pipe dream, a fantasy with no basis in reality. But what if the very possibility of ascension is what the Anunnaki fear the most, a threat to their dominance that they will stop at nothing to prevent? So, what can we conclude from this journey through ancient texts, alien agendas, and the possibility of human ascension? We have explored the idea that humanity is designed to be as gods, but has been trapped by the Anunnaki. We have examined the evidence that suggests that the Anunnaki have sought to suppress human potential, stealing our abilities and manipulating our consciousness. And we have considered the possibility that humanity can reclaim its divine birthright and ascend to a higher plane of existence. Humanity has given consent, and has to undo this consent through taking back the soul and embracing sovereignty. The evidence, as we've seen, is compelling. Now, what can be done to shift reality? This is a call to action. Reclaim your soul, embrace your sovereignty, and work towards a collective awakening to unlock humanity's true potential and transcend the control of the Anunnaki. For what we will discover next will be even more shocking and deeply rooted in our history than we ever thought possible. Did you know that the Anunnaki's influence extends far beyond physical enslavement? The shocking truth is that they have implemented a strategic system to block humanity's ascension by manipulating our very thoughts and behaviors. The battle for humanity's future is not just about remembering a forgotten past or reclaiming lost abilities, but actively resisting the forces that are trying to prevent our evolution into a divine species, actively suppressing enlightenment at every turn. Now, let us examine the subtle yet pervasive methods by which the Anunnaki seek to diminish the human soul and thus our ability to ascend. What if the 7 deadly sins, as they are commonly known, are not merely moral failings, but cleverly designed traps that keep humanity tethered to a lower vibrational state, a state far removed from our divine potential? Pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth, these are the vices that have been condemned by religions for millennia. But what if their true purpose is to diminish the soul? What exactly do the Anunnaki gain by encouraging these so-called sins? By manipulating humanity into indulging in these negative behaviors and thought processes, they create a readily available food source of negative energy, or loosh. Imagine a farm where the crops are fear, anger, and despair. This is what the Anunnaki seek to cultivate in the human population. As it is written in certain esoteric texts, the Anunnaki are not sustained by physical food, but by the energetic emissions of sentient beings. These parasitic entities drain the energy of humans and other life forms, which is what the Dracos discovered when they consumed Lyran beings. By feeding off these lower vibrations, they maintain their control and dominance over humanity, preventing us from ascending to a higher state of consciousness. But are these sins just part of human nature, as many would argue? Or are they carefully engineered impulses designed to keep us enslaved? If these sins serve as blockers to ascension, what tools are used to promote them? So what is it that they don't want you to know? Having uncovered the Anunnaki's strategy of energetic manipulation through the 7 deadly sins, it becomes critical to examine the specific technologies they employ to cultivate these behaviors. Modern technology, with its seductive allure and pervasive influence, may be far more insidious than we realize. Modern technology, specifically social media, could be one of the Anunnaki's most potent tools for manipulating human behavior and emotions. Has technology become a tool of oppression? Addiction to technology is rampant in human society. The average person spends hours each day glued to their screens, scrolling through endless feeds of information and entertainment. But what if this constant connectivity is actually disconnecting us from our true selves, keeping us trapped in the lower chakras of survival and instant gratification? Social media platforms are designed to keep people in the lower chakras of survival. Social media algorithms, for example, are designed to manipulate human behavior and emotion. The content we see is carefully curated to trigger specific responses, such as fear, anger, and envy. So, what exactly are the Anunnaki extracting from humanity through the use of technology? What are the precise methods by which they manipulate our energy? By keeping humanity distracted, divided, and emotionally reactive, the Anunnaki create a constant stream of negative energy that they can then feed upon. By triggering anger, fear, and envy, social media platforms essentially function as energetic farms, providing a constant harvest for these parasitic entities. What are the specific steps to manipulating energy? First, create a system that encourages negative emotions. Second, amplify those emotions through constant exposure and reinforcement. Third, harvest the energy that is generated. Technology makes this far easier. Is it also part of human nature to seek connection and validation through social media? Some might argue this, but are we being subtly manipulated to participate in our own energetic enslavement? What if the Anunnaki are using our inherent desires for connection and validation against us, turning us into willing participants in their parasitic system? What then are the steps to becoming divine, despite these powerful blockers? List ye, O man, to the secrets of ascension and hearken to the words of freedom. We have uncovered the Anunnaki's manipulation, recognized the tools of oppression, and understood the energetic dynamics at play. But ascension can still be achieved, and it is up to humanity to ascend. But how? The only way to truly ascend is to know thyself. Know thyself, the ancient inscription at the Oracle of Delphi, holds the key to unlocking our divine potential. Is it possible that this saying isn't simply philosophical advice, but a practical instruction manual for navigating the complexities of human existence and breaking free from the Anunnaki's control? To understand our design, we must look inward, not outward. This knowledge was readily available to ancient humans because of their strong connection to the planet. Ancient humans were far more capable of knowing themselves because of a strong connection to the planet. They lived in harmony with nature, attuned to the rhythms of the earth and the cosmos. They understood the power of intention, the importance of mindfulness, and the interconnectedness of all things. However, technology has distanced us from this connection. What does it truly mean to know yourself? How do you transcend the limitations of your physical body, your emotions, and your thoughts? So, what are the specific steps we must take to become the divine human? What specific actions can we take to reclaim our power and break free from the Anunnaki's control? The path to divinity may seem daunting, but it is not impossible. First, connect to the planet by grounding. Spend time in nature, walk barefoot on the earth, and feel the energy of the planet flowing through you. Second, meditate to understand the human design. Focus on your breath, quiet your mind, and listen to the wisdom of your intuition. Third, cut the cords with the Anunnaki. Visualize yourself severing the energetic connections that bind you to these parasitic entities. And fourth, learn how to transmute. By consciously shifting your thoughts and emotions, you can transform negative energy into positive energy, reclaiming your power and radiating light into the world. Even in the face of Anunnaki oppression, humans are more than just a harvest. Humans are able to ascend and become divine beings. Does humanity have a chance? Becoming divine is the destiny of mankind. Despite the Anunnaki enslavement, humanity can be a divine species if we take the steps to reclaiming our soul. However, there is still the burning question of how all of this is related to the afterlife, which will be covered next. Did you know that ascension is not a one-time event, but a constant, active battle against the forces that seek to suppress humanity's potential? The core of this struggle lies in the Anunnaki's persistent efforts to keep mankind from realizing its divine nature. This requires a continuous effort, a conscious choice to ascend, to rise above the limitations imposed upon us. Mankind possesses the inherent ability to ascend, to transcend the physical realm and tap into higher states of consciousness, but this potential remains dormant, waiting to be awakened. The path to ascension is not a passive one. It demands constant practice, a dedicated commitment to spiritual growth and self-awareness. But what if there was a key, a gateway within our very being that could unlock this dormant potential? What if, by understanding the secrets of our own bodies, we could overcome the Anunnaki's oppression and claim our rightful place as divine beings? Now, let us turn our attention to a remarkable gland nestled deep within the human brain, a tiny organ that has been revered by mystics and spiritual seekers for millennia: the pineal gland. What if this small, pine cone-shaped gland is far more significant than modern science suggests? What if it serves as a gateway to other dimensions, a portal to higher realms of consciousness, as the esoteric texts claim? The theory suggests that the pineal gland provides a gateway to other dimensions. Ancient cultures believed that the pineal gland was the seat of the soul, the point of connection between the physical and spiritual worlds. According to esoteric traditions, the pineal gland is our antenna to other dimensions. It is the tool to access higher realms. But how can we use this antenna to ascend? The pineal gland plays a crucial role in producing DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, a naturally occurring psychedelic compound that is released during sleep, meditation, and near-death experiences. This compound is known for its ability to induce profound spiritual experiences, often described as encounters with otherworldly beings or journeys to alternate realities. Ancient cultures have used this tool for thousands of years to ascend. Connect the pineal gland to ancient Egyptian symbolism, such as the Eye of Horus. The Eye of Horus, a powerful symbol of protection, healing, and royal power, bears a striking resemblance to the structure of the human brain, with the pineal gland at its center. What is the significance of this connection? Is it merely a coincidence, or does it point to a deeper understanding of the pineal gland's role in ancient Egyptian spirituality? The Egyptians considered the Eye of Horus to be an important source of divine power. The Eye of Horus represents the pineal gland and the ability to see beyond the physical world. But what happens when the pineal gland is blocked, when its ability to produce DMT and facilitate spiritual experiences is diminished? Now, let us delve into a controversial topic, a substance that many believe is deliberately used to block the pineal gland and prevent mankind from accessing higher states of consciousness: fluoride. What if the addition of fluoride to our water supply is not merely a public health measure, as we are led to believe, but a calculated attempt to suppress our spiritual potential? What if fluoride, a neurotoxin known to calcify the pineal gland, is a key weapon in the Anunnaki's arsenal of oppression? Some believe fluoride blocks the mind's eye. Proponents of this theory point to studies that have shown fluoride accumulates in the pineal gland, leading to calcification and reduced function. Fluoride has been used in water for a long time. Are there benefits to not using it? Many believe so, especially in regards to ascending. Furthermore, how is the food supply affected? The food supply is affected by fluoride. Many foods are grown with water that is infused with fluoride. Are there ways to decalcify the pineal gland? Some natural supplements and practices, such as iodine supplementation, cacao consumption, and meditation, are believed to help decalcify the pineal gland and restore its function. From the alien perspective, do they wish to block mankind from ascension? If the Anunnaki seek to maintain control over humanity, it would be in their interest to suppress our spiritual abilities and prevent us from accessing higher realms of consciousness. This brings the question, if there are so many arguments against using fluoride, why are we still using it? Some may argue about the benefits of fluoride for dental health. But are these benefits worth the potential cost of our spiritual potential? Is it possible that we are sacrificing our connection to the divine for the sake of preventing cavities? But what steps do we need to take in order to break free from the Anunnaki suppression? Having uncovered the potential link between the pineal gland, fluoride, and the Anunnaki's agenda, it becomes clear that reclaiming our minds and bodies is crucial to achieving ascension. The pineal gland and fluoride are used to block mankind from seeing other dimensions. The mind is connected to ascension, but what if the heart is just as important? To truly ascend, the heart and mind must work together in harmony. What role does the heart play in our spiritual evolution, and how can we unlock its power? Now, let us turn our attention to the heart, an organ that has been celebrated in poetry, art, and spiritual traditions as the seat of love, compassion, and intuition. Present the theory. Heart-based living is crucial to ascension. What if the heart is not merely a pump that circulates blood throughout our bodies, but a powerful center of intelligence that can guide us on our path to ascension? Some suggest the heart has its own intelligence. Scientific research has revealed that the heart possesses its own intrinsic nervous system, a complex network of neurons that functions independently of the brain. This heart-brain can process information, make decisions, and even learn and remember. But what if the heart's intelligence extends beyond the physical realm? Some say the importance of love, compassion, and connection in spiritual growth is essential. Many esoteric traditions teach that love is the fundamental force that binds the universe together, and that by cultivating love and compassion, we can align ourselves with this divine energy. But how do we tap into this energy? What are the specific steps to living a heart-based life? Now, let us examine the practical steps we can take to unlock the power of the heart and use it as a guide on our spiritual journey. What are the specific steps to using the heart as a guide? How can we cultivate love, respect, and compassion in our daily lives? And how can these qualities help us overcome the Anunnaki's influence? What about love and compassion for mankind, which is the only way to survive? By opening our hearts to others, by extending our compassion to all beings, we can create a powerful force of positive energy that can counteract the negative influences of the Anunnaki. But why can't the Anunnaki use these tools? The Anunnaki will never be able to use these. Love, compassion, and empathy are qualities that are foreign to the Anunnaki, who are driven by greed, power, and control. But can we truly overcome such a powerful force? Elaborate on the impact of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki's impact is severe. The Anunnaki will seek to destroy all that is good on this planet. But what if this sounds naive? Some may argue that heart-based living is naive, that it is unrealistic to expect love and compassion to overcome the forces of greed and oppression in the world. Address counterarguments that heart-based living is naive. However, is it not precisely this kind of thinking that has allowed the Anunnaki to maintain their control for so long? What happens when the heart and mind are connected? What if, by integrating the wisdom of the heart with the intelligence of the mind, we can unlock our full potential and create a better world? Having explored the power of the heart, and that heart-based living can set mankind free, let us now turn our attention to another crucial element in the ascension process, our connection to the planet. Now let us consider the Earth, our home, our source of life, and a powerful force in our spiritual evolution. What if the Earth is not merely a passive rock hurtling through space, but a living, conscious being with its own energy and intelligence? Present the theory that planet Earth plays a crucial role in ascension. Ancient cultures believed that the Earth was a sacred being, a living goddess known as Gaia, who nourished and sustained all life. Is this just an ancient myth, or does it hold a deeper truth? Some say that the Earth has energy, and there is an importance of connecting to the planet through practices like grounding and nature immersion. By connecting to the Earth's energy, we can ground ourselves, release stress, and tap into a powerful source of healing and vitality. Is the Earth alive? The planet can communicate to mankind, but it takes work. What if the Earth is constantly communicating with us, sending us messages of guidance, support, and love? But how can we learn to listen? How can we open ourselves to the Earth's wisdom and allow it to guide us on our path to ascension? Now, let us examine the ways in which the Anunnaki are impacting the Earth, how they are wounding Gaia and disrupting the delicate balance of life on our planet. How are the Anunnaki impacting the Earth? What if the pollution, deforestation, and destruction of the natural world are not merely the result of human greed and ignorance, but a deliberate strategy by the Anunnaki to weaken our connection to the Earth and prevent our ascension? They seek to destroy the planet, thus destroying mankind. By destroying the Earth, they are destroying the very foundation of our being, cutting us off from the source of our strength and vitality. But what is the relationship between mankind and Gaia? Is the destruction of the planet directly linked to the Anunnaki agenda? Mankind and Gaia are linked. Many believe that the planet cannot survive without mankind, and mankind cannot survive without the planet. But what if there are those who deny the impact on Earth? What about the deniers of pollution? Address counterarguments about pollution. But what if those people are influenced by the Anunnaki to stop the Earth from healing? Now, let us synthesize all that we have learned, drawing together the threads of mind, heart, and Earth to create a clear picture of the path to ascension. Reclaiming our minds and bodies is the only way for the human race to continue and ascend. The Anunnaki actively seek to destroy the soul and seek to diminish the connection to the heart, mind, and planet. Synthesize. The Anunnaki actively seek to destroy the soul and seek to diminish the connection to the heart, mind, and planet. But what does this mean for mankind? But what lies ahead? What does the future hold for humanity as we navigate the challenges of Anunnaki oppression and strive to reclaim our divine potential? The conclusion and call to action will inspire viewers to reclaim their sovereignty, connect with Earth, and work towards ascension. But what if there is another secret tool that the Anunnaki are hiding? Indeed, the human race possesses the innate potential to ascend, to transcend the limitations of the physical realm and attain higher states of consciousness. But this journey is not a passive stroll. It is a relentless, arduous battle fought on the inner planes of existence, a constant struggle against the forces that seek to bind humanity to lower vibrational frequencies. The very future of mankind hangs in the balance, contingent upon the choices made in this moment, in every moment. Will we succumb to the seductive allure of complacency, or will we rise to meet the challenge and claim our divine heritage? Now, let us delve into a disturbing theory, a hidden truth that the controllers of this world would prefer to keep shrouded in darkness. Specific emotions are being weaponized, manipulated, and amplified to keep mankind from ascending. These emotions, namely fear, anxiety, and worry, are not merely fleeting feelings. They are potent energetic forces that can either liberate or imprison the human spirit. But what if these negative emotions are not merely a byproduct of a chaotic world, but a deliberately cultivated food source? Consider this. Fear, anxiety, and worry are characterized by chaotic, disharmonious frequencies. They disrupt the natural flow of energy within the body, creating blockages and imbalances that manifest as physical and mental ailments. It has been discovered that these specific low-level emotions are, in fact, a food source. These emotions are not an accident. Scientific studies have revealed the profound impact of emotions on the human body. It has been found that chronic stress, fueled by fear and anxiety, can suppress the immune system, disrupt hormonal balance, and even alter DNA expression. These low-level vibrations shut down the connection to source. The body's reaction to stress and fear is not just a psychological phenomenon, it's a physiological one, impacting every cell and system within our being. But what becomes of this negatively charged emotional energy after it has been harvested and manipulated? Where does it go? And what purpose does it serve in the grand scheme of cosmic events? And how do the hybrid bloodlines, the descendants of the Anunnaki, factor into this cycle of emotional exploitation? From the alien perspective, negative emotional energy is a valuable resource, a form of sustenance that fuels their power and sustains their control over humanity. They extract this energy through various means, including the manipulation of world events, the propagation of fear-based ideologies, and the creation of systems that perpetuate anxiety and stress. But what of positive emotions? Are they inherently beneficial, or can they, too, be manipulated to cause harm? One may counter-argue that positive emotions, such as excessive pride or blind faith, can also lead to destructive behavior. However, the key difference lies in the intention behind the emotion. Positive emotions rooted in love, compassion, and empathy are aligned with the natural flow of the universe, while negative emotions driven by ego, fear, and control are a distortion of this natural order. The manipulation of emotions connects back to the theme of food source for the Anunnaki. This manipulation keeps the masses from ascending. But if negative emotions are a source of sustenance for the controllers, what emotions can be wielded as a shield against their influence, as a fuel for our own ascension? Having unveiled the Anunnaki's agenda to drain our emotional energy and impede our spiritual evolution, we must now turn our attention to the power of the heart, the sacred chamber where the keys to our liberation lie hidden. What is it about the heart that makes it such a potent force in the battle for our souls? Now, let us consider the power of love, an emotion that has been celebrated throughout human history as the ultimate expression of connection, compassion, and unity. What if love is not merely a sentimental feeling, but a powerful force field, a source of protection and energy that can shield us from the Anunnaki's influence and propel us towards ascension? Scientific research has revealed the extraordinary properties of love. It has been shown that love can boost the immune system, reduce stress, and promote healing. Love has the highest vibration. Furthermore, the electromagnetic field emitted from the heart is far more powerful than that of the brain, radiating outwards and influencing the world around us. The act of living in the heart is a deliberate act. But what does it truly mean to live in the heart, to make love the guiding principle of our lives? To live in the heart is to cultivate compassion for all beings, to forgive those who have wronged us, and to express gratitude for the abundance that surrounds us. It is to make choices aligned with our deepest values, to speak our truth with courage, and to act with kindness and integrity. It provides a new worldview. There are specific examples of this protection to consider. The electromagnetic field emitted by the heart can create a shield of positive energy that deflects negative influences and attracts benevolent forces. When we operate from a place of love, we are less susceptible to manipulation and control. The electromagnetic field is real. So how can we harness the power of the heart, tap into this boundless source of energy and protection, and wield it as a tool for our own ascension? The tools for the new world include forgiveness, compassion, and gratitude. Forgiveness, compassion, and gratitude are the cornerstones of heart-based living. But is it truly possible, or even advisable, to forgive the Anunnaki, those who have caused so much suffering and destruction throughout human history? Is it important to forgive the Anunnaki? Forgiveness does not mean condoning their actions or denying the harm they have inflicted. Rather, it means releasing the anger, resentment, and bitterness that bind us to the past, freeing ourselves from the cycle of victimhood and allowing us to move forward with greater clarity and strength. This new energy source is completely untapped. Love is a renewable resource, an inexhaustible source of energy that is available to all who are willing to cultivate it. By consciously choosing love, compassion, and gratitude, we can tap into this wellspring of power and fuel our own ascension, while simultaneously weakening the grip of the Anunnaki on our world. But what if the heart is seen as weak? Some may argue that the heart is weak. The Anunnaki, in their pursuit of power and control, have deliberately suppressed and denigrated the power of the heart, promoting a worldview based on fear, competition, and dominance. They want mankind to be subservient. But hark, O man, in ancient Egypt, the heart was revered as the seat of intelligence, the source of intuition, and the gateway to the divine. The weighing of the heart ceremony, depicted in the Book of the Dead, symbolizes the importance of living in alignment with our true selves, of choosing love and compassion over fear and control. But what happens when the heart and mind are out of alignment? So, having explored the power of love, compassion, and forgiveness in liberating ourselves from the Anunnaki's influence, let us now turn our attention to another crucial element in the ascension process: free will. The power of choice will set us free. But what determines the choices we make? What factors influence our decisions? And to what extent are we truly free to choose our own destiny? Having seen how love can provide protection, there is a need to discuss the importance of choices and free will. If we can access our hearts, we can make better choices. Now, let us consider the power of choice, the ultimate weapon in the arsenal of the human spirit. The Anunnaki can manipulate, but they cannot take the choice away from mankind. Mankind has the right to choose and actively affect the timeline. Each choice creates a new path or destiny, a ripple effect that reverberates throughout the cosmos. The aliens can manipulate, but they cannot make a choice for humans. We have the ultimate power. The steps to activating free will involve making choices from the heart. How do we choose? The first step towards activating our free will is to become aware of the choices we are making, to recognize the subtle influences that are shaping our decisions. This requires constant vigilance, a willingness to question our own motives and biases, and a commitment to aligning our actions with our highest values. Mankind must not consent to the negative thought process. The Anunnaki rely on our consent, on our willingness to accept their narratives of fear, limitation, and separation. By consciously choosing to reject these narratives, by refusing to give our energy to negative thoughts and emotions, we can begin to dismantle their power and reclaim our sovereignty. But what if this sounds too good to be true? Some may argue that ascension is not real. They may say that it is a pipe dream, a fanciful notion that has no basis in reality. However, such skepticism often stems from a lack of understanding, a limited perspective that fails to recognize the vast potential that lies dormant within each of us. Ascension is a real possibility, an attainable goal for those who are willing to do the work, to face their fears, and to embrace their divine nature. So, let us synthesize the journey we have undertaken, drawing together the threads of emotions, choice, and the inner battle that rages within each of us. Ascension can happen, but it takes constant practice and a connection to the heart. The time is now, but are you going to choose? What will you choose? The ending and call to action will inspire viewers to reclaim their sovereignty, connect with Earth, and work towards ascension. What lies ahead, and how can we unlock the full potential of our collective consciousness? But what if the alien Anubis had not just engineered the creation and collection of souls, but also controlled their reincarnation and destiny? This is the core theory we now delve into, a disturbing possibility that souls are not allowed to evolve freely, but are instead trapped in a cycle of reincarnation orchestrated by the Anunnaki. This notion challenges the very fabric of spiritual beliefs. If souls are trapped in this reincarnation cycle, How are they controlled and manipulated? The answer, according to esoteric traditions and reinterpreted ancient texts, lies in the Anunnaki's manipulation of energy and consciousness, a manipulation that spans millennia. Imagine a cosmic farm where souls are cultivated, harvested, and recycled, their memories wiped clean, their potential stifled. This may seem like science fiction, but the implications are profound. Now, let us consider the theory that the Anunnaki control the reincarnation cycle to maintain a steady supply of energy. Ancient texts and esoteric traditions reference cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. But what if these cycles are not natural occurrences, but carefully orchestrated mechanisms of control? The Bardo Thada, or Tibetan Book of the Dead, describes the intermediate state between death and rebirth, a realm filled with illusions and temptations. Is it possible that these illusions are deliberately crafted to lure souls back into the cycle, preventing them from ascending to higher realms? Near-death experiences, NDEs, often seen as comforting glimpses of the afterlife, might also be manipulated or misinterpreted to serve this purpose, offering a false sense of security and enticing souls to return. What are the implications of not being allowed to move on, to break free from this cycle of reincarnation? It means that humanity is perpetually trapped in a state of spiritual infancy, unable to reach its full potential, its consciousness forever tethered to the whims of the Anunnaki. It's a sobering thought, a cosmic prison from which escape seems impossible. But is it truly impossible? From the alien perspective, the motivations for keeping souls trapped in the reincarnation cycle are clear: energy. But is the Anunnaki energy source diminishing? Is this why they need to have a constant source of souls? Negative emotions, as discussed previously, are a form of energy that the Anunnaki feed upon, and the reincarnation cycle ensures a steady supply of these emotions. But what about the souls themselves? Are they merely passive vessels, or do they possess inherent value beyond their emotional output? The concept of a false light, or manipulated afterlife experience, becomes particularly relevant here. A deceptive promise of paradise designed to trick souls into returning willingly. Some may argue that reincarnation is a natural cycle, a fundamental aspect of the universe. However, the evidence suggests that the Anunnaki have hijacked this natural process, twisting it to serve their own selfish purposes. By controlling the flow of souls, they maintain their dominance over humanity, preventing us from evolving beyond their control. This control connects back to the Anunnaki need for a food source. If they cannot feed, they will die. So if souls are recycled, how does the Anunnaki species manage it? Having summarized the evidence for the alien control of reincarnation, let us introduce the disturbing concept of soul farms, a nightmarish analogy to industrial farming. This may sound absurd, but consider the implications. Envision, if you will, the Anunnaki as soul farmers, tending to their human herds with meticulous care. The Anunnaki see souls as a commodity to be harvested and consumed, their emotional energy siphoned off to sustain the Anunnaki's power. To be farmed is to be controlled, manipulated, and exploited, your very essence reduced to a mere product. Our emotions manipulated to keep them in a lower state. Our societal structures designed to promote fear, anxiety, and division, all to maximize the Anunnaki's harvest. The implications are chilling. Elaborate on how the Anunnaki benefit from controlling souls. They are so dependent on keeping mankind in a controlled state. A controlled human population is easier to manipulate, easier to keep in a state of fear and anxiety, and easier to harvest for their emotional energy. But how do the Anunnaki harvest these souls? Do they employ advanced technology to siphon off emotional energy, or do they rely on more subtle methods of manipulation? Imagine a vast, interdimensional network, siphoning energy from human souls like sap from a tree, the Anunnaki growing fat and powerful on humanity's suffering. The connection to technology is more important now than ever. One may counter-argue that human existence is random. However, the patterns of manipulation, the deliberate cultivation of negative emotions, and the control of the reincarnation cycle all suggest a deliberate, orchestrated plan. The suffering of humanity is not an accident. It is a carefully crafted strategy to maintain the Anunnaki's dominance. The controllers rely on technology to create a system. The technology will be revealed at a later time. But what happens when humans realize the truth, when they awaken to the reality of the soul farms and the Anunnaki's control? Having summarized the theory that human souls are farmed, let us explore the possibility of disrupting these farms, of reclaiming individual sovereignty and breaking free from the Anunnaki's grasp. Can these farms be shut down? The answer, according to esoteric traditions and spiritual teachings, lies in the power of consciousness, in the ability of mankind to awaken to its true potential and reclaim its divine heritage. Present specific techniques for disrupting the Anunnaki's soul farming operations. Conscious dying, intent setting, and soul retrieval are all practices that can help individuals break free from the cycle of reincarnation and reclaim their sovereignty. Conscious dying involves preparing for death with awareness and intention, consciously choosing the destination, and avoiding the traps set by the Anunnaki. Intent setting involves consciously directing your thoughts and emotions, refusing to give energy to negative influences, and aligning yourself with positive, life-affirming forces. Soul retrieval involves reclaiming fragmented aspects of your soul that may have been lost or stolen, restoring your wholeness, and empowering you to break free from the Anunnaki's control. The key here is discernment, developing the ability to distinguish between genuine spiritual experiences and manipulated illusions. One must ensure your soul will not be trapped. Elaborate on the potential of mankind to break free and claim their power. Is the ascended state the final destiny? Can the ascended state affect the future? The ascended state is a state of enlightenment, a state of freedom from the cycle of reincarnation and the control of the Anunnaki. In this state, individuals possess immense power, the ability to create their own reality and shape the destiny of the cosmos. But how will the Anunnaki react to this uprising of consciousness? Will they attempt to suppress it, to crush it with their superior technology and manipulation? The choice is ours. Mankind must take a leap. Some may argue that the Anunnaki are too powerful, that their control is too absolute to be challenged. However, the power of consciousness is greater than any technology. The Anunnaki can only control those who consent to be controlled. By reclaiming our power, by awakening to our true potential, we can break free from their grasp and create a new reality, a reality of freedom, love, and abundance. What happens next will blow your mind. Having traversed the labyrinthine paths of the cycle of souls, the insidious harvest, and the audacious potential for liberation, let us synthesize this odyssey. Can the human race take the next step? The Anunnaki are not all-powerful, and mankind can create their reality by actively choosing the path. Freedom requires a leap. So, what is the first step to freedom? The answer lies within each of us, in the conscious choice to reclaim our sovereignty, to connect with our hearts, and to create a reality of our own choosing. But know that the journey does not end here. We are but scratching the surface of a far greater truth, a truth that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the universe and your place within it. The battle for our souls has only just begun. Now, we must face our fears and know that the choice is ours. If the Anunnaki are able to control the reincarnation and farming of souls, then what happens to their concept of time and linear events? We must explore whether they manipulate time itself to keep souls trapped and prevent them from realizing their true potential. For what if the timeline, as we know it, is also a construct and tool for control? Now, let us consider the theory that the ancient Egyptians were not just timekeepers, but able to manipulate time as well. The cycles of time may trap the soul in a constant loop. Their manipulation may have created the constructs we live within today. Consider their ancient calendars and pyramids, and their relationship to celestial events and potential time anomalies. The pyramids were not just tombs but potential time devices. Are the pyramids themselves designed to harness and manipulate time, trapping souls in a never-ending loop? It's been stated that the emerald tablets of Thoth speak of the manipulation of time and space by those who dwell within the higher dimensions. Thoth was saying, "List ye, O man, to my account." These tablets suggest that the Egyptians understood the cyclical nature of time and the ability to influence its flow through specific rituals and technologies. The significance of cycles repeats over and over again through time. Each cycle may lead to the same events and consequences. From the alien perspective, we must consider their motivations for controlling time and creating time loops. What benefit could the alien race have of souls traveling through time and space? Perhaps souls accumulate knowledge and experience as they traverse different timelines, which the Anunnaki can then harvest. The long-term impact of time manipulation on human consciousness and the suppression of human potential is immeasurable. The Anunnaki may be keeping humanity in a perpetual state of amnesia, preventing us from remembering our true origins and potential. What if this is connected to the harvest? Perhaps they also harvest us across time, which is an unlimited source of food and energy. While some may argue about the linear nature of time and the impossibility of time travel, the evidence for time anomalies and manipulation continues to mount. Physicists and esoteric scholars have increasingly explored the concept of non-linear time, quantum entanglement, and the potential for manipulating the fabric of spacetime. Now, if time is an illusion, what would happen if timelines are shifting without our consent? Summarizing our theory on how the Anunnaki manipulate time to control souls, let us introduce the Mandela effect. This is a phenomenon in which mass groups of people remember an event or fact differently than it occurred, according to mainstream sources. The Mandela effect may be more evidence of a great force manipulating timelines, or even a glitch in the system. Can the Mandela effect truly change our past and future? Presenting the Mandela effect as evidence that the timeline is not fixed and is constantly being manipulated, it leads us to question what is real. Discussing examples of commonly cited Mandela effects, such as changes in brand names, movie quotes, and historical events, many remember the name of the Berenstain Bears. The new spelling and name is now Berenstain Bears. Many historical events are often misremembered in different countries. If the effects relate to alternate timelines, then what is the true timeline? Does one exist? This is all proof that time is not linear, and this gives rise to another question. How do these changes affect the soul's journey? The soul's journey may not be linear. Perhaps it moves across different timelines, accumulating different experiences. Elaborating on how the Mandela effect could be used to alter the destinies of individuals or even entire civilizations, the idea that timelines can be manipulated is not new. In fact, some believe the Anunnaki have been doing this for millennia, subtly altering events to keep humanity under their control. What if the manipulation of the timeline could change events to influence and change the population's destiny? Perhaps the Anunnaki are rewriting history to erase any trace of human potential or to steer us down a path of self-destruction. What do they achieve by changing it? Do they control our thoughts and beliefs? This brings us to the nature of choice. If our memories and experiences are constantly being rewritten, do we truly have free will? Are we simply puppets dancing to the tune of the Anunnaki, our destinies predetermined by their manipulations? Perhaps free will is an illusion, a carefully crafted lie designed to keep us complacent and unaware of our true potential. While some may argue about psychological explanations for the Mandela effect, such as false memories or suggestibility, the scale and consistency of these effects suggest a deeper, more profound phenomenon. Perhaps the Anunnaki are using advanced technology to manipulate our memories and perceptions, rewriting our past and shaping our future. If reality and the timeline can be altered, then how can mankind create its own reality? We have seen information about how timelines are shifting and how they affect the population, so it is up to the population to actively create change. The only way to ensure our freedom is to shift our minds to different realities. Presenting the theory that humans have the power to create a new timeline through focused intention and collective consciousness, the ability to shape reality lies within each of us. With the power of intent, one can create change. The power to create change is real, and so is the ability to manifest a reality free of oppression and control. Discussing the importance of visualization, manifestation, and positive affirmations in shaping reality, we can actively shape our destiny. However, the only way to change the destiny is to ensure the intentions are acted upon. Positive manifestation is only one part of the equation. We must ensure we act towards those intentions, too. While some may dismiss this as New Age spirituality, the evidence for the power of intention and collective consciousness is growing. Studies have shown that focused intention can affect physical systems, alter gene expression, and even influence the outcome of events. The Global Consciousness Project, for example, has demonstrated that major world events can correlate with changes in global consciousness, suggesting a powerful interconnectedness between human minds. Can you jump timelines and dimensions to escape the cycle? Detailing the steps to setting intentions and acting towards those intentions, it begins with a deep understanding of what you truly desire. The first step is to write it down and reflect on it for an extended period of time. After that, you must set the intention to act in accordance with those desires. If you are able to do both of those things, the only thing that is left is to act, even if it is a small step. However, the caveat of this statement is to ensure you are living through the soul. As long as the mind and body align with the soul, reality can be altered. Some may argue about the nature of New Age spirituality and manifestation. But while they have validity, the core concepts do not change. Intention setting and manifestation can change the direction of a being, as long as action is taken. If the Anunnaki can manipulate time and souls are being farmed, then humanity can create its own destiny. The Anunnaki can't be everywhere all at once. They are a species with their own limitations, their own fears, and their own weaknesses. What are these weaknesses? Is there anything the Anunnaki can do to stop us from creating our own destiny? The power to create our own destiny is here. The only thing that can stop you is yourself. The Anunnaki are able to control the timeline and recycle the souls, but mankind has the power to create their destiny by actively choosing to create and jump to a new timeline. If the Anunnaki are able to control the timeline and recycle souls, then what else are they able to control? The core of this control extends to the deliberate manipulation and erasure of historical records. For what if the history we know is not the true history, but a carefully crafted illusion to keep mankind enslaved? This erasure of history serves a very specific purpose, to control the narrative of humanity's origins and destiny. But what events did the Anunnaki erase? Were they only events tied to them? One of the most devastating losses of knowledge in human history came with the burning of the Library of Alexandria. Consider the thousands of years of accumulated wisdom, scrolls containing the secrets of ancient civilizations, advanced technologies, and alternative histories, all going up in flames. This fire was no mere accident. The burning of the Library of Alexandria was not simply a tragedy. It was a deliberate act to destroy knowledge that contradicted the Anunnaki narrative, ensuring that humanity remained ignorant of its true potential and enslaved to a false reality. But are there ancient texts that speak of other histories that the Anunnaki sought to suppress? Indeed, fragments of forgotten scrolls and whispers of alternative accounts hint at a past far different from what we've been taught. Some texts tell of advanced civilizations that predated Sumer, of technologies that rival our own, and of interactions with beings from other worlds. Could these have been targeted and destroyed? Is it possible that the fire was not an accident, but a meticulously planned operation to eliminate these dissenting voices from the historical record? What knowledge was truly lost in that inferno, and who benefited from its destruction? From the alien perspective, it becomes clear why it was necessary to rewrite the knowledge of mankind. Controlling the narrative is essential to maintaining control over the population. The Anunnaki sought to erase any trace of human potential, to keep us locked in a state of ignorance and dependence. The true history is a dangerous weapon to them. But how does this benefit the harvest? A population ignorant of its true origins and potential is far easier to control and manipulate, making them ripe for the harvesting of their souls. Does this tie into the concept of free will and controlling destiny? The Anunnaki's manipulation of history is a direct assault on human free will. By controlling the narrative, they control our thoughts, our beliefs, and ultimately our choices. Are current history books accurate, or are they biased and false? We must ask ourselves, are we truly free, or are we simply puppets dancing to the tune of the Anunnaki? And if so, can we break free from their control and reclaim our destiny? Now, if information and history has been rewritten to fit a narrative, then where is the true history being hidden? If the destruction of the Library of Alexandria was a deliberate act to suppress knowledge, then who has preserved this knowledge? What organization has the power, the resources, and the motive to hide the true history from mankind? We've seen how knowledge was destroyed to benefit the aliens, ensuring humanity's enslavement. This leads us to the Vatican, a place of great power and mystery. Introducing the theory that the Vatican possesses suppressed knowledge and artifacts related to the Anunnaki and humanity's true origins, we must ask ourselves, what secrets lie hidden within its ancient walls? But does the Vatican have suppressed knowledge about the Anunnaki and the true history of mankind? Consider the vast archives, the secret vaults, and the untold treasures that lie hidden beneath Vatican City. What if these archives contain ancient texts, artifacts, and other evidence that contradicts the official historical narrative? Why have popes discussed ET life in the past? What do they know that the rest of the world does not? Are they aware of the Anunnaki presence on Earth? Consider the claims of secret archives containing ancient texts, artifacts, and other evidence that contradicts the official historical narrative. What secrets do these texts hold about our origins? Are there maps of other worlds? Are there accounts of advanced technologies that have been suppressed for millennia? What are they hiding? Presenting specific examples of the archives and what is located there, it is said they contain forbidden knowledge about the true origins of mankind, the existence of extraterrestrial life, and the Anunnaki's role in shaping human history. But why is this information locked up? Why would the Vatican, an institution dedicated to spreading the word of God, suppress knowledge that could liberate humanity? How does the Vatican influence bloodlines? It is believed that the Vatican is working to influence and control key bloodlines around the world, ensuring that power remains in the hands of those who serve the Anunnaki agenda. Could the Vatican be working with the Anunnaki? For if the Vatican is not working to liberate humanity, then what is their true purpose? What are they protecting? And who are they serving? Addressing counterarguments about how the Vatican has played a role in the preservation of knowledge, one must consider that any knowledge they preserve is knowledge that serves their own agenda. They may have preserved some ancient texts, but they have also suppressed countless others that contradict their narrative. The Vatican's role in the preservation of knowledge is a carefully curated one, designed to maintain their power and control. But if the alien species control knowledge, then what other programs do they have in place to further their agenda? If the Anunnaki and their human collaborators are suppressing knowledge and manipulating bloodlines, then what other methods are they using to control humanity? What other schemes are they hatching in the shadows? If information and history has been rewritten to fit a narrative, then what other programs are they running? With the Vatican and other organizations keeping information from the masses, there is still another piece of the puzzle to discuss. Introducing the Anunnaki and human hybrid program, it is an extension of their efforts to control humanity's destiny. They seek to create a new race of beings that are both human and Anunnaki, a hybrid race that will be loyal to them and serve their agenda. Discussing accounts of alien abduction, there are many accounts of alien abduction in which humans are taken aboard spacecraft and subjected to medical experiments. Some of these experiments involve the harvesting of eggs and sperm, suggesting that the aliens are attempting to create hybrids. But what is the purpose of the hybrids? Are they intended to be slaves? Are they intended to be soldiers? Are they intended to be a new ruling class? The answer, most likely, is all of the above. The hybrids are intended to serve multiple purposes, all of which contribute to the Anunnaki's ultimate goal of total control over humanity and the planet Earth. Where do the hybrids live? Presenting the theory of the Anunnaki wanting to mix the bloodlines, they seek to create a new race of beings that are more easily controlled and manipulated. This mixing of bloodlines is not about improving humanity, but about enslaving us. The hybrids often live in underground bases, hidden away from the rest of humanity. They are raised and trained to serve the Anunnaki agenda. But if aliens seek to harvest souls, then mixing species would allow for greater control. By mixing human and Anunnaki DNA, they seek to create beings that are more susceptible to their influence. This is not about creating a better future for humanity, but about securing their own power and control. Explaining the potential impact of this breeding program, it poses a grave threat to the future of humanity. The hybrids could be used to replace humans, to enslave us, or even to destroy us. Addressing counterarguments about the Anunnaki hybrid program, the mainstream scientific community dismisses the idea of alien abduction and hybrid programs as pseudoscience. However, the sheer number of reported abductions, combined with the consistency of the accounts, suggests that there is something real happening. We must keep an open mind and continue to investigate this phenomenon, no matter how strange or unsettling it may seem. So, what does this journey into the shadows reveal? Is mankind being led to a final harvest? The Anunnaki control history, bloodlines, and are conducting a hybrid program to trap souls. What is the end game? With knowledge being power and the Anunnaki seeking to steal this, they are manipulating the timeline and recycling the souls. If all of the resources, history, and people are being drained and used, then what will happen to the future of mankind? The truth is that the future is uncertain. What will the future bring? Will we break free from their control and reclaim our destiny? Or will we remain enslaved to their agenda, forever trapped in a cycle of ignorance and dependence? But what if there is an ultimate weapon that can destroy all the harvesting? Did you know that the Anunnaki's influence extends far beyond the physical realm, reaching into the astral plane itself? The core of this disturbing truth lies in the notion that the harvesting of souls is not merely a physical phenomenon, but a systematic extraction that occurs on multiple dimensions, including the astral plane. If the Anunnaki are extending the harvest into the astral realm, how are the souls affected? And what influence do these ancient beings exert in this ethereal dimension? Indeed, the astral plane, often described as a battleground for souls, is a realm that has been acknowledged across diverse cultures throughout history. Ancient Egyptians referred to it as the Duat, a perilous realm through which the soul must navigate to reach the afterlife, where the souls were judged by Osiris. Tibetan Buddhists speak of the Bardo, an intermediate state between death and rebirth, filled with illusions and challenges. The Greeks envisioned the underworld, a shadowy realm ruled by Hades, where souls lingered after death, which they had to be ferried to by the god Hermes. These disparate cultures all recognized a non-physical dimension where consciousness persists after physical death. It is a plane with varying levels and dimensions, where souls may find themselves trapped, ensnared by earthly attachments or manipulated by unseen forces, existing somewhere between the physical and spiritual planes. But what they may not have known is that the Anunnaki are the unseen forces that manipulated these planes. Highlighting the energetic connection between the physical and astral planes, beings on the astral plane can influence our thoughts, emotions, and experiences in ways we may not even realize. What is the distinction between our ancient understandings of this plane to our current understandings of it? How are souls trapped on the astral plane, and what mechanisms do the Anunnaki employ to ensnare them? Are souls tricked into returning to the physical world prematurely, or are they held captive by other means? Is there a path to fight them and ascend to a higher state of being? From the alien perspective, controlling souls on the astral plane serves as a means to maintain their power and influence over humanity. They benefit from manipulating the astral plane by siphoning energy from trapped souls, manipulating reincarnation cycles, and perpetuating a cycle of ignorance and dependence. But how do these aliens benefit from such manipulation? For humans on Earth actively seeking to protect themselves from astral entities, it is imperative to cultivate spiritual awareness, practice mindfulness, and shield themselves with protective energies. While some may argue that there is a lack of scientific evidence for the existence of the astral plane, countless personal experiences, mystical traditions, and esoteric teachings attest to its reality. But what tactics do the Anunnaki employ to keep souls confined to the astral plane, preventing their ascension? How does astral projection play a role in keeping souls trapped? Could it be that these beings, with their advanced technology and understanding of consciousness, have found ways to manipulate the very fabric of reality to keep souls from escaping their grasp? By using tactics such as manipulating belief systems, creating false realities, and exploiting emotional vulnerabilities, the Anunnaki keep souls tethered to the astral plane, preventing them from realizing their full potential. What most people miss is the existence of negative entities, malevolent beings that feed on fear, suffering, and negative energy. Presenting the theory that negative entities are used to drain souls, one must consider the qualities and characteristics of these entities. These entities are parasitic beings that thrive on negative emotions, such as fear, anger, and despair. They attach themselves to individuals, feeding on their energy and influencing their thoughts and behaviors. How does this then feed the aliens? By creating chaos, division, and suffering on Earth, they generate a constant stream of negative energy that sustains the Anunnaki. But how do these entities attach themselves to individuals, and what are the signs of their presence? The signs of their presence include sudden mood swings, unexplained anxiety, intrusive thoughts, and a general sense of unease. But are these truly demonic encounters? For these encounters potentially connect to the Anunnaki agenda. To elaborate on the steps to protect and banish these entities, one must recognize that it begins with cultivating inner peace, practicing forgiveness, and shielding oneself with positive energy. Is there a relationship with karma? By resolving past traumas, learning from mistakes, and cultivating compassion, individuals can break free from the karmic patterns that attract negative entities. To ensure that these entities do not attach to one's being, it is essential to maintain a high level of spiritual hygiene. From the alien perspective, connecting to these entities serves as a means to maintain control over humanity and perpetuate their agenda of enslavement. While some may dismiss the existence of negative entities as mere superstition, countless accounts of demonic encounters, exorcisms, and spiritual warfare attest to their reality. What did ancient cultures do to banish these entities? Various cultures performed rituals, chanted mantras, and used sacred objects to banish negative entities and restore balance. But if entities are draining the soul, is it possible to block them completely? It is important to summarize that entities are draining from the souls. But then how do implants factor into the harvest? Could it be that these implants serve as energetic blockages, preventing individuals from accessing their full potential and connecting with their higher selves? Introducing the effects of implants and technology on the harvest, the question must be asked: are we more AI now than human? For the effect that the technology is having is that it is creating a generation of individuals who are increasingly disconnected from their own intuition, creativity, and spiritual awareness, presenting the theory that implants are not just physical devices, but energetic blockages or thought patterns that limit human potential. The implants prevent individuals from seeing the truth, from questioning authority, and from realizing their own power. As these implants become more prevalent, we are sleepwalking into a state of technological enslavement. But who is controlling the technology? Accounts of alien abductions and implants suggest that these technologies are being used by the Anunnaki to monitor, control, and manipulate humanity, solidifying that the aliens seek to harvest souls. But what happens to humanity as these implants become more prevalent? Why do the aliens want to implant everyone? With the increasing integration of technology into every aspect of human life, mankind runs the risk of becoming increasingly dependent on these external devices. The aliens implant everyone to maintain their control over humanity. There is a lot of fear in the world with technology's impact, but how can mankind come together to stop this harvest and oppression? We must resist the urge to succumb to fear and division, and instead come together in love, compassion, and unity. To address the counterarguments about technology truly saving mankind from these implants, one must acknowledge that while technology can be used for good, it can also be used for evil. Only by reclaiming our sovereignty, connecting with our inner wisdom, and uniting in a common cause can we hope to break free from the Anunnaki's agenda. So, what have we learned? Mankind is under attack, not just on this plane but on many others. To summarize, the ultimate harvest is here, as we see the Anunnaki seeking to control every aspect of human existence, from our thoughts and emotions to our physical bodies and spiritual destinies. But fear not, for we also have the opportunity to shift that power and end their tyranny. Do we have a chance? Only by awakening to the truth, reclaiming our sovereignty, and uniting in a common cause can we hope to break free from the Anunnaki's agenda and create a brighter future for humanity. Are you ready to reclaim your sovereignty, learn to Astral Project, and connect with Earth to protect yourselves from the alien agenda? But what if all of these programs lead to complete destruction? So if the Anunnaki are indeed harvesting souls on the astral plane, what exactly are they extracting? And why is it so valuable to them? At the heart of this cosmic transaction lies the concept of loosh, a term that describes the energetic properties of emotions, particularly those of a negative nature. Could it be that human suffering is not just a byproduct of their control, but a deliberate and cultivated resource? Loosh, in esoteric terms, refers to the energy generated by living beings, particularly emotional energy. Emotions like fear, grief, despair, and rage possess a potent energetic signature. This signature, or louche, can be perceived as a vibrational frequency that certain entities find palatable, even essential for their sustenance. Imagine a vineyard where the grapes are human emotions, cultivated and harvested for their energetic yield. This concept isn't new. Ancient myths and legends are rife with tales of demons, vampires, and other malevolent beings that feed on human suffering. The Mesopotamian demon Lilith, for example, was said to prey on infants and pregnant women, deriving sustenance from their fear and anguish. Ancient Sumerians would leave offerings to the gods so they could feed off of the energy the offerings emitted, lest the gods feed on the energy of the people. Similarly, in Hindu mythology, Rakshasas are demons who consume human flesh and energy, thriving on chaos and destruction. What could this mean for the people who astral project? First-hand accounts of astral projection experiences often describe encounters with entities that seem to drain energy, leaving the projector feeling weak and depleted. Some astral travelers report witnessing vast energetic fields where souls are trapped, emitting waves of intense emotional energy that is actively being siphoned off. But is this simply a metaphorical depiction of spiritual vampirism, or a literal process occurring on the astral plane? Now, if the astral plane is indeed a battleground for souls, and negative entities are actively harvesting louche, what steps can individuals take to detach themselves from this cycle and reclaim their sovereignty? It is crucial to understand that detaching from the astral plane is not about escaping reality, but about gaining control over one's energetic destiny and emotional state. What methods and practices can be adopted to shield oneself from these astral influences? Techniques such as meditation, mindfulness, and emotional regulation form the foundation of astral self-defense. Regular meditation practice can quiet the mind, reduce emotional reactivity, and strengthen one's connection to their higher self, making one less susceptible to external influences. Mindfulness involves cultivating present moment awareness, allowing one to observe thoughts and emotions without judgment, and preventing negative emotions from spiraling out of control. Emotional regulation techniques, such as cognitive reappraisal and emotional distancing, can help one to manage and transform negative emotions, reducing the amount of louche available for harvest. Cord cutting, a practice common in many spiritual traditions, involves severing energetic connections with people, places, or situations that drain one's energy. By visualizing and consciously cutting these cords, one can reclaim their power and prevent negative entities from accessing their energy field. Setting strong energetic boundaries involves consciously defining and enforcing the limits of one's personal space, both physically and astrally. This can be achieved through visualization, affirmations, and the use of protective symbols or talismans. But how does love factor into this equation? Love, compassion, and forgiveness are powerful energetic frequencies that repel negative entities and create a protective shield of light. By cultivating these qualities within oneself, one can transform their energetic field into an inhospitable environment for parasitic beings. Does intent and free will influence this process? Intent and free will are the keys to reclaiming one's sovereignty on the astral plane. By consciously choosing to detach from negative influences, setting clear intentions, and asserting one's free will, one can break free from the cycle of manipulation and control. One can prepare for the afterlife by examining their lives. Are there any unfinished businesses that require attention? Is there any healing that must occur? By answering these questions, one can step into the afterlife without any hindrances. So, what have we learned on this journey? Humanity is being harvested physically, emotionally, and spiritually from the beginning of time to now, a persistent pattern of exploitation orchestrated by the Anunnaki. It appears that the ancient gods were not simply benevolent guides, but cosmic farmers cultivating a crop of human suffering. What does this mean for the future of humanity? A new way of thinking is needed, a paradigm shift that recognizes the reality of astral manipulation and empowers individuals to reclaim their sovereignty. There is hope, but it is up to each individual to act, to awaken to the truth, and to take conscious steps to protect themselves from the forces that seek to control them. This knowledge shifts the perspective of Anubis, revealing that the god may be nothing more than a soul collector, a cosmic gatekeeper ushering souls into the Anunnaki's harvesting system. How does this knowledge prepare mankind for the return of the Anunnaki, or perhaps their continued, unseen presence among us? What actions can we take now to ensure that we are not used as a food source, mere cattle in a cosmic farm? By cultivating spiritual awareness, practicing mindfulness, and setting strong energetic boundaries, we can transform ourselves from willing victims into empowered agents of our own destiny. But is it possible for humans to transcend the soul cycle altogether, to achieve a higher level of consciousness that is beyond the reach of the Anunnaki? What will happen next as humanity begins to awaken to the reality of the astral harvest and the alien agenda? Are the Anunnaki still among us, subtly guiding humanity toward a predetermined destiny? Throughout this video, the evidence has pointed towards the Anunnaki influencing and potentially harvesting mankind, from ancient times to the present day. But if the Anunnaki have been here the whole time, or are they poised to return, where would one even begin to look for signs of their presence? If they've been subtle, will we even realize it? Could the answer lie in the skies above, obscured by the veil of the unexplained? Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, also known as UFOs, have captured the attention of governments, scientists, and the public alike. Could these be nothing more than advanced weather or new military aircraft? Are they modern-day gods? Consider the countless reports and testimonials detailing UFO sightings, often describing craft with capabilities far exceeding our current understanding of physics and engineering. These UAPs exhibit impossible speeds, gravity-defying maneuvers, and silent propulsion systems. According to a 2021 report by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, many UAP sightings remain unexplained, defying conventional explanations. If these UAPs are not of human origin, could they represent the return of the Anunnaki, or perhaps even their continued presence, operating in the shadows? Could these be a new form of transportation for the old gods? Where would these beings be located if this were true? Perhaps they reside in underground bases or underwater, hidden from human sight. But how does this advanced UFO technology benefit the Anunnaki's alleged harvest of human energy and souls? It's important to consider the potential applications of such technology. Are they manipulating the weather to create emotional distress? Could they be influencing the minds of those on the planet? If these craft are interdimensional, could they move through space and time at will? What capabilities would they have with this power? What are the long-term consequences if this were true? As Jacques Vallée points out in his book, Passport to Magania, the UFO phenomenon has a long and complex history, often intertwined with folklore and mythology. This raises the question of whether governments are aware of this presence, actively studying these phenomena, or perhaps even collaborating with the Anunnaki. While some argue that UAPs are simply misidentified military tech or naturally occurring phenomena, the sheer volume of unexplained sightings, coupled with the advanced capabilities often reported, suggests a more complex reality. Some have stated that governments are aware of these UAPs and the reality of the Anunnaki. What purpose would they serve if they truly knew about the Anunnaki? Now that we've explored the possible threats and realities of the Anunnaki and UAPs, how can mankind prepare themselves for the potential future that awaits? It's essential to summarize the connection between UAPs and the harvest. If these aerial phenomena represent the technology of the Anunnaki, used to manipulate and control humanity, then what skills and knowledge will be most important for navigating this new reality? In a world of deception and manipulation, what is important to prepare for? Discernment will be key, as one should avoid taking everything at face value. What steps can one take now to acquire these skills, to fortify themselves against these types of attacks on the body, mind, and soul? First and foremost, critical thinking and skepticism become essential tools. One must learn to question everything, to analyze information from multiple perspectives, and to identify biases and hidden agendas. Understanding logic and reasoning, as well as recognizing logical fallacies, can help one to avoid being misled by propaganda and misinformation. Emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions and those of others, is also crucial. By developing emotional resilience and self-awareness, one can avoid being easily manipulated by fear, anger, or other negative emotions. But what are the building blocks of sovereignty, and what can one do to obtain them? Self-sufficiency, the ability to provide for one's own basic needs, reduces dependence on external systems that may be subject to control. Skills such as gardening, food preservation, and basic medical care can empower one to become more resilient in the face of potential disruptions. But that's not all, for knowledge, both ancient and future, will be even more important. What kind of knowledge is most important for the future? Ancient wisdom and knowledge can provide invaluable insights into the nature of reality, the workings of the human mind, and the spiritual dimensions of existence. Studying ancient texts, mythologies, and esoteric traditions can reveal hidden patterns and truths that have been obscured by modern materialism. How can one remember this, and how can we connect the building blocks of the future to the past? Practices such as meditation, yoga, and Tai Chi can help to cultivate inner peace, enhance intuition, and connect with one's higher self, providing a sense of grounding and resilience in the face of external chaos. Are these ancient practices really that important, or are they just myths and stories? One must remember that all skills and knowledge are beneficial unless they begin to harm you. With that, one must find their balance. Is there a way to elaborate on the steps one can take and what to remember? One can learn to be adaptable and remember to prepare for anything. Having equipped ourselves with the necessary skills and knowledge, we now face the ultimate question. How does mankind win against this alien agenda? To prepare to win, one must first introduce what the alien objective is. If the Anunnaki seek to dominate and harvest human energy and souls, then what is the ultimate goal of this domination? Is there only need for energy, or is there something more at play? The ultimate goal of the Anunnaki may not simply be the extraction of Lush, but the complete domination and control of humanity, both physically and spiritually. If they obtain world domination, then what happens? Perhaps their agenda extends to the manipulation of human genetics, the suppression of spiritual potential, and the enslavement of consciousness. Do certain souls ascend faster? Could this control be connected to the rise of transhumanism, the New World Order, and the Great Reset, all of which seek to reshape humanity according to a predetermined agenda? Transhumanism, with its promise of technological enhancement and immortality, may be a subtle trap, designed to integrate humanity into a digital matrix controlled by the Anunnaki. The New World Order, with its vision of a global government, may be a tool for centralizing power and suppressing dissent. The Great Reset, with its focus on economic restructuring and social engineering, may be a means of creating a compliant and easily managed population. But is enslavement inevitable? Can the human race ever break free from this cycle of manipulation and control? Why is this information important? There is hope, but it requires a fundamental shift in consciousness, a collective awakening to the reality of the alien agenda. Elaborate on the shift mankind can make. It requires a rejection of materialism, a rediscovery of spiritual values, and a commitment to reclaiming individual sovereignty. One must also learn to connect with their soul and realize their full potential by working within. This also requires the support of others and a movement of awakening and change. While some may argue that humanity is simply a food source, destined to be consumed by higher powers, the potential for ascension has always been present. Despite what has been done, there is always hope. Is there something that the Anunnaki are truly afraid of? Everything we have learned on this journey, from the mysteries of ancient Egypt to the modern-day UFO phenomenon, can help mankind find their way. The skills and knowledge are there, as long as the human race chooses to act. What does this knowledge prepare mankind for in the coming future? Now that we know what the goal of the Anunnaki is and how this affects us, what steps can we take now to ensure that we are prepared for the harvest? If our bodies, minds, and souls are the only things that we truly own, how can we protect them? What we'll uncover next is even more shocking. For the soul is not what it seems. The Anunnaki, master chess players, subtly maneuvering humanity across the board of existence. Throughout this odyssey, we've unveiled a narrative woven with manipulation, soul harvesting, the veiled suppression of knowledge, and the iron grip of Anunnaki control. But the pivotal question remains etched in starlight. Will humanity forever remain a pawn, or will it rise to claim its sovereignty? Having journeyed this far into the labyrinth of concealed truths, on which side do you now stand in this cosmic game of chess? Could the very stones speak of mankind's enslavement? Looming large against the Georgia landscape stand the guidestones, a monument etched with cryptic messages for a future world. But what if these messages aren't a guide to enlightenment, but rather a blueprint for control? The Guidestone's most controversial message advocates for maintaining humanity at a population of no more than 500 million, a staggering reduction from our current numbers. What hidden hands guided the creation of this monument? Whose vision of the future do these stones truly represent? Could this be a modern-day echo of the Anunnaki agenda, a silent testament to their ongoing influence? What if the depopulation agenda served a darker purpose, a harvest more sinister than we could imagine? To the Anunnaki, humanity may simply be a resource cultivated and culled for its energy, its essence, its very soul. But what happens when the herd dwindles? What happens when the fields lie barren? From the Anunnaki perspective, a smaller population may be easier to control, its resources more efficiently managed, its energy more readily harvested. A diminished human race might represent a more compliant workforce, its spirit broken, its will subdued. The concept of sustainability is nothing more than a veil, as the Anunnaki see a future of the human race as a cattle to harvest. But there are two sides to every coin, and the Anunnaki aren't always right. With the Anunnaki's plan, how can one obtain active freedom? The answer lies not in blind acceptance, but in conscious disobedience, in a collective refusal to be led to the slaughter. The building blocks of this active freedom are not forged in the halls of power, but in the hearts of the individual. But where does one start in such an endeavor? By connecting with the soul and realizing your full potential. To shift the tides of destiny, humanity must act together, but where would that even begin? For the Anunnaki, mass manipulation is their power, so what is mankind's? Mass meditation, an act of unified intention, holds the potential to rewrite timelines and reshape realities. If the Anunnaki wield the power to manipulate our collective consciousness, what power lies in the hands of the masses to reclaim their destiny? Intentions, like seeds planted in fertile ground, have the ability to take root and flourish, to influence the very fabric of time. How can we come together to shift these timelines? By consciously directing our collective energy towards a future of freedom, sovereignty, and spiritual awakening, we can undo the damage already done. Can humanity truly shift the tides with just meditation? What intentions should be woven into the tapestry of our collective consciousness? The intention should be to sever the cords of manipulation, to break the chains of control, and to reclaim our divine birthright. Connect this meditation to the power of ascension and the pursuit of freedom. Envision a world where humanity transcends its limitations, where the soul shines brightly, and where the Anunnaki agenda crumbles into dust. The impact that can be made is not merely personal, but cosmic, rippling outwards to touch every corner of creation. Why is it so important to practice this form of meditation? The power is always within, it just needs to be unlocked. Is there more than just meditation? The importance of mass meditations are the first step to achieving active freedom. What inner state is essential to begin? Before one can join the ranks of the awakened, inner work is crucial to prepare for the journey ahead. But what does this inner work truly entail? What are the secret steps one must take? But here's what most people miss. To truly embrace the light, one must first confront the darkness within. Present within the shadow self lies an untapped reservoir of power, a hidden potential that can fuel the fires of change. One cannot truly know the depths of love without understanding the sting of hatred. One cannot truly appreciate the brilliance of light without experiencing the shadows. It is in the delicate dance between these opposing forces that true divinity emerges. One cannot truly know themselves until they embrace all aspects, but what is the next step in accepting that reality? If there is no good without bad, then what is the next step for mankind? It is in embracing this duality, in integrating the light and the dark, that humanity can reclaim its sovereignty, its divine right to self-determination. Each individual holds the power to overcome tyranny, to shatter the chains of control, and to rise above the limitations imposed by the Anunnaki agenda. Where does one begin? It all begins with a single act of defiance, a conscious choice to reclaim one's own mind, body, and spirit. How can the light and dark exist in the same place, and what does this truly mean for humanity? It is the power to create our own destiny, a power that can be activated at any point in our evolution. What have we truly learned on this journey to the end? The journey has been long, complex, yet insightful, an odyssey through the annals of ancient history, the mysteries of the cosmos, and the hidden agendas that shape our reality. Humanity has the ability to overcome this alien agenda, to reclaim its soul, and to create a whole new world, a world that benefits mankind's evolution, a world free from manipulation and control. But how does mankind fully disconnect from the grip of the Anunnaki? What does that world truly look like? And what can this knowledge truly prepare you for in the future? Our journey is coming to an end, but the future is never certain. The journey has been long and full of complex information, so is it now time to finally act and change the trajectory? What comes next will shock you. Will humanity forever remain a pawn in this cosmic game? Or is it now time to actively step into the role of king and queen? The central theme of this odyssey has been the timeless battle between human sovereignty and Anunnaki control, a conflict that now demands each of you to make a choice, to continue serving masters or to embrace the power within your own soul. But can you truly remain neutral, straddling the fence between these opposing forces? Or does the very act of indecision already align you with one side? What lies before humanity is nothing less than a choice between two radically different paths, one that leads to ascension, a liberation from the chains of control, and another that perpetuates enslavement, ultimately culminating in the soul harvest long whispered about in esoteric circles. What does each of these paths truly entail? The path of ascension demands unwavering self-awareness, a relentless pursuit of truth, and the courage to dismantle the illusions that bind you. Conversely, the path of enslavement is paved with ignorance, complacency, and a willingness to surrender your will to external forces. Take the journey in the video as a means to understand the reality that surrounds you and to teach you about how to break free from it. Everything that has been taught and spoken about so far in the video has led you here. What choice will you make? To embark on this path to ascension, one must first learn to recognize the chains that bind them. But how does one identify these insidious shackles, woven so seamlessly into the fabric of our reality? It demands intense self-reflection, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and an unwavering commitment to uncovering the authentic self, stripped bare of all external conditioning. From the Anunnaki perspective, humanity's continued enslavement is not born of malice, but from their own need for energy and control. But what makes them act in this way? They view humanity as a resource, a means to an end, justifying their actions through a distorted lens of self-preservation. Many people would say they have their own limitations, which makes breaking free from the Anunnaki agenda impossible. But is this really true? Or is this the chains that keep mankind suppressed? If it is indeed possible to break free from this insidious control, then what power does humanity possess that the Anunnaki themselves are missing? Having traversed the depths of enslavement and glimpsed the promise of ascension, it's time to shift our focus towards the boundless potential that lies dormant within each of you. Let's summarize the two paths: the path of enslavement, full of ignorance and submission, and the path of ascension, full of difficult truths and liberation. Could it be that the Anunnaki have been intentionally suppressing the knowledge of this power, fearing its potential to dismantle their carefully constructed empire? It is the power of creation, the boundless capacity for love, and the unwavering commitment to kindness. If each individual possesses the power to co-create reality through focused intention, then what kind of world should humanity actively bring into being? How can you actively bring that to life? The world you create with your soul can be anything that benefits mankind's overall ascension. Does creating this world require vast sums of money, positions of political power, or simply a pure and unwavering intent? Intention is the key. The theory of intention posits that our thoughts and emotions are not merely passive reflections of reality, but active forces that shape the very fabric of existence. By consciously directing our collective energy towards a future of freedom, sovereignty, and spiritual awakening, humanity can rewrite its destiny. But what would this new world truly look like? A world co-created by the collective intentions of an awakened humanity. Would the Anunnaki still hold sway in this new reality, or would their influence begin to wane as humanity ascends to a higher state of consciousness? This world would be full of love, compassion, and ascension, for the benefit of not only mankind, but for the universe. It is created through unwavering belief. Harness your creativity to visualize this world. It can be real if you make the intent and put the action behind it. Many people would say this is just wishful thinking, but did the same not happen when discussing that the world was round? If mankind is actively engaged in co-creating a new world, then how does Anubis, the enigmatic god of the afterlife, factor into this unfolding narrative? In this journey, we've explored the depths of ancient mysteries, the potential for alien intervention, and the power of human consciousness. It is essential to now reintroduce the pivotal figure of Anubis. How does Anubis affect the population? He played an important role, but why? Was Anubis merely a guide, a silent shepherd leading souls through the treacherous landscape of the afterlife, or did his role extend far beyond the conventional understanding? What were his true intentions? While some scholars suggest Anubis was a benevolent figure, offering solace and guidance to the departed. Others propose a more sinister interpretation, casting him as a gatekeeper of the soul harvest, ensuring that only the worthy are ushered into the next stage of existence. So, does he have good or evil intentions? How could he have an evil intention when he is a gatekeeper? He also is the judge, jury, and executioner, and has the power to condemn a soul for eternity. Anubis did not seek to save, but sought to judge. But even in the face of such immense power, mankind possesses the ability to take the ancient knowledge and forge a new path, a path that leads away from manipulation and towards self-determination. Elaborate on the importance to fully break free from this manipulation and harvest. It is essential to sever the cords of control, to dismantle the systems of oppression, and to reclaim your divine birthright. Are there limitations, or are these limitations just a means to keep humanity from breaking free? Everything that has been taught and discussed in this video, from the depths of ancient Egypt to the far reaches of the cosmos, has led to this pivotal moment. The realization that each individual possesses the power to create their own path, co-create their own world, and activate their inherent free will. It is time for each individual to step into their power and begin to actively shape the reality they wish to inhabit. This journey has helped teach the audience a new understanding of Anubis and the role he has played in the Anunnaki's plan. The choice, ultimately, is now yours. But understand this, the journey is not over. It is only just beginning. We're just scratching the surface. What we will discover next is even more shocking. As we reach the end of this mind-bending journey into the realm of Anubis and the mysteries of ancient Egypt, it's time to bring our exploration to a close. Now that we've re-examined the accepted perspective and unveiled hidden layers of meaning, let's wrap up what we've unveiled. What truths and secrets have we discovered about Anubis, the enigmatic god of the afterlife? While the world understands Anubis as a god, we sought to unveil a new reality and understanding, a new perspective on an ancient myth. We've seen Anubis as an alien technician, a master of genetic preservation through mummification. We've witnessed the soul selection process, the weighing of the heart, as a potential assessment of genetic purity for an alien agenda. We've traced the thread of alien influence through the ages and contemplated the possibility of a soul harvest, a cosmic reaping of human consciousness. Like a cosmic shepherd, Anubis tended to humanity. Was he truly the protector, guiding souls to paradise, or the harvester, culling them for an unknown purpose? With the information from this exploration of Anubis, you are now better prepared to recognize truth and combat lies, to discern the hidden forces shaping humanity's destiny. You now have the knowledge to better understand the world. But what if the story you were told was a lie? What if Anubis was just a puppet of a grander scheme and the smiling face of the Anunnaki deception? If the Anunnaki sought to rule mankind, why did they need to hide behind the mask of gods and goddesses? What entity is above them, pulling the strings and orchestrating this elaborate charade? Ultimately, this journey has explored the subtle and blatant manipulation used by the Anunnaki and provided mankind with the next steps to break free from that manipulation. The narrative of Anubis, whether god or alien, resonates with the broader concept of mankind's freedom and destiny. What price is one willing to pay for freedom, for the right to self-determination? Our findings reshape our understanding of the role the Anunnaki played in ancient Egypt. It goes into questioning if this influence expands to other historical events and civilizations throughout human history. While the immediate impact is clear, the long-term ramifications could drastically change the world. How can we act now to ensure a future of freedom, sovereignty, and spiritual awakening? What is the cost of suppressing this knowledge, of denying the potential for alien intervention in human affairs? The answer is the eternal enslavement of mankind. The suppression of knowledge ensures the continuation of control. Despite the seemingly negative agenda at play, there is hope for mankind. If humans unite, transcend their differences, and awaken to their true potential, nothing is impossible. The sheer scale of the potential harvest leaves mankind with a sense of wonder that can only be realized when they connect with their true selves and claim their sovereignty. Reflecting on this journey, I have a sense of both hope and dread, a belief that the world can be a better place, or we are on the brink of ultimate disaster. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Astral Legends for more content on ancient mysteries and legends. Allow this information to give you pause and reflection, and encourage you to make changes in your life to seek a more enlightened path. Join us next time as we explore more alien influences on ancient civilizations, uncovering the hidden threads that connect our past, present, and future. Until next time, remember what's false and seek the real truth. Consistent outro animation with logo and music, creating a recognizable end sequence. We began this video questioning Anubis's intent. Did we find our answer, or are we just beginning the journey?